Yemo ignored the young man's words. He couldn't even be bothered explaining and was going to charge into the chaos flow space. Yemo ignored the young man's words. He couldn't even be bothered explaining and was going to charge into the chaos flow space. Old Geo, cut of his legs, young master, you sneered. Before the old man moved, the young girl added, cut of his ears too. Since he's deaf, he doesn't need ears. Yes, young master, Princess Chuan, Old Ju said and dashed in front of Yemo. Yemo was furious. First, he didn't go in the city. Second, he didn't do anything wrong and there was such unreasonable people. Cut off your own legs and ears, the old man said with a bitter face. Yemo was so furious he laughed. Bullshit. Then, he realized Zisu. Since he can't avoid the fight, he won't hesitate. In this type of world, he didn't need to beg for mercy. Seeing the purple ray, the old man's eyes narrowed. This wasn't something a truth realization state level 1 could use. Killing intent filled up the space tens of meters around the sword ray. A weak cultivator would be killed purely by the killing intent of this purple ray. This old man suddenly felt that this truth realization state level 1 wasn't so easy to talk to. He raised his hand, and a black sword ray flashed. A dark as ink lightning sword was released, but the next moment, he felt his body pause. Great completion domain. The old man called out in shock, and before he could break free of Yemo's domain, he saw two smaller purple ray fly out of Zisu. The two saw that Yemo dared to release his magic artifact and fight with old Geo and laughed again. The young girl pointed at Yemo. Brother, you. No wonder he dares to not listen to us. He's an idiot, huh? Before she finished laughing, she saw two purple sword ray fly over, yet old Ju who protected them couldn't stop that. At the same time, old Ju was very shocked too. He didn't believe that people dared to kill young Master Yu in the Black Rock City. This cultivator was even a truth realization state level 1 cultivator. Old Geo burst his cultivation essence and instantly broke free from Yemo's domain. Just when he wanted to block the two purple sword rays, he saw two red light flash up. The purple sword rays cut off the heads of the two nascent soul state cultivators easily. Blood splashed out. The girl still had a laughing expression while the man was full of shock. Two nascent souls seeped out of the body and wanted to run, but two more lightning swords struck and disintegrated the nascent souls. A few cultivators watching this were shook, but exclaimed, this foreign truth realization state, level 1 cultivator was so ferocious. But immediately they left here quickly as though they had never seen this. Clearly they didn't want trouble. Old Ju saw this and his eyes were about to bulge out. He roared and the black sword turned into countless sword veils wanting to swoop Yemo. At the same time, Yemo heard a furious roar, who dares to kill my children? But when the last syllable sounded, it was already at the city gates. Yemo was shook. He was planning on teaching this old Ju a lesson, but he couldn't care about that now. He used mobility magic and disappeared from the city gates. Yemo was already in the upper hand of the battle, so old Geo could only watch Yemo run off. Yemo's 5-element mobility wasn't an initial mastery yet, but it was enough for him to escape out of the city. As soon as Yemo disappeared, a furious middle-aged man came to the city gates. Another beautiful woman and more than 10 truth realization state, peak stage cultivators flew here. If Yemo was here, he would be shocked to see so many truth realization state peak stage. They each had an ancient chi, and it was impossible to tell old they were. The beautiful woman cried by the body of the young Master Yu, who killed my son. I'm going to melt his bones and burn his soul. The middle-aged man suddenly said, Sister Yen, don't worry. Even if he escapes to the center of Space Storm, I will bring him back. Then, the middle-aged man looked coldly at the pale-faced old Ju. The old man knelt down and said shakily, City Lord, Jokai is useless and wasn't able to protect the young master and Princess Chuan. The middle-aged man's face went even colder. This means that the cultivator who killed them was a truth realization state, peak stage, and much more powerful than you? Jokai said with a pale face. No, he's only truth realization state level 1, but his domain is in great completion, much more perfect than my domain. I didn't notice this. Haha, you didn't notice this. The middle-aged man looked coldly at old Ji. This means that a mere truth realization state level 1 killed you and Chuan in front of you and left as he pleased, but you can't even stop him for a second? Jokai sweated even more, and the sweat dripped off his face, landing on the black rock ground. "Is that it?" the middle-aged man asked coldly again. Old Jew said shakily, "Yes, City Lord, I will capture him. Please give me a chance, City Lord." "Give you a chance?" City Lord's voice calmed down instead and looked at the old man in contempt. He waved his hand, and a blue flame went out surrounding the old man. He could only make half a howl before he was turned to dust. Not even his essence spirit was left. This was also a mist lotus heart fire, but a blue-colored one. Then, the man said coldly, "A mere trash deserves another chance?" Then, the middle-aged man turned to the truth realization state cultivators behind him and said, "No matter where this person came from, since he dares to kill the young city lord at the Black Rock City, he must be brought back. Go out now. No matter who can capture him, I will reward him dearly." "Yes, City Lord," they replied in unison and disappeared at the city gates. The beautiful woman was still crying. The middle-aged man grabbed her hand and said, "Sister Yin, come with me to the Voic Chaos Flow space and bring back that bastard. I will make you happy." The beautiful woman nodded her head and left with the man. At the same time, in a very luxurious palace, another beautiful woman roared to another man, "Yang Feijing, your daughter is killed and you don't even care. Are you a man?" The man's face changed drastically. "What? Chuan was killed? I'm so furious." The man's hands even began shaking. Seeing this, the beautiful snorted in contempt, "I'm going to capture the culprit, you useless garbage." The beautiful figure disappeared in the palace. Then, the man who was shaking with anger got up casually and looked coldly at the direction the woman left, murmuring, "Great, great kill, very great kill." Then, he flew out of the palace slowly. Emo felt very annoyed while running. Why was it that he always offended those bastards with powerful backgrounds? Emo felt very annoyed while running. Why was it that he always offended those bastards with powerful backgrounds? Lightning Cloud Sect Tian Alfing, Infinity Sect Yuan Guanan, and some Tong High Cult Yong Wuzi and Yong Yuer. Emo didn't even know how many of these people he had offended, but he knew this was related to his character. If it was some other cultivator, he probably would have handed up his storage ring. But he wasn't going to. He had too many good things inside. If he was going to transfer it, perhaps the truth realization state old man would notice and his golden page world would be exposed. Plus, even if he didn't have any good things, he wouldn't give his storage ring unless there was no other way. After a while, Emo stopped. He believed that those Black Rock City people wouldn't be able to chase up to him in this void chaos flow city. He was King State Body Refinement Power, and with this speed who could catch up to him? But Emo stopped for less than 15 minutes and few multiple, extremely powerful cultivation, essence wave scan over. Emo was shook. Clearly this was truth realization state peak stage power. With this many people all coming towards his direction, it was obvious they were coming at him. How were there so many masters in the Black Rock City? Emo didn't understand. Even if they were masters, how could they move so fast in this void? Clearly they were all experienced in body refinement. Emo knew that even though he had left so early and was still caught up, it was pointless to run. However, he had to keep running. If he stayed here and got surrounded, he would be dead for sure. No matter how absurd he was only a truth realization state level 1 cultivator. Just when Emo wanted to change a direction to run, he heard a voice not far ahead say, "Follow me, this way." Emo was shook. This voice was so close to him, but he didn't even notice it. If this person didn't speak to him, he wouldn't be able to notice even till now. But Emo knew this voice probably had no ill will, otherwise, he would have been ambushed already. Realizing this, Emo headed towards the direction of the sound without hesitation. Moments later, he saw the person making the sound. He was hiding behind the space chaos flow. No wonder he couldn't see him before. This person looked skinny and black. There were some mustache on his chin. He wasn't very handsome, but he had distinctive features. The man immediately said to Emo, "Don't turn back. Come with me now. If you fall into those bastards' hands, you will die for sure." Emo saluted with his fists. "Thank you, friend." "I'm Emo," the man nodded. "I'm Dishueming. This isn't the place to talk. Let's leave first." Then, the black skinny man turned, and Emo saw his figure fading. Emo followed quickly. 8 hours later, the man stopped by a space whirlpool and closed his eyes for a long while before opening them. It's fine now. They have lost track of us. Guillermo quickly asked, I've left that much earlier. How do they know my tracks? And what is this place? Di Shuiming studied Guillermo and said, You're very amazing. You're only truth realization state level 1, but you can come into the void fissure and survive till now. Pity, with your age. If you didn't fall into void fissure, you can easily ascend into the immortal realm at any realm. Guillermo didn't answer to this. Di Shuiming said again, The cultivators living here call this place void fissure. It's a void space between two realms. If nothing special happens, those who come here can't go out and will stay here till they die. What? You can't go out? Guillermo asked. Di Shuiming nodded. I'm not lying to you. I'm truth realization state peak stage, but I've been stuck here for nearly 600 years. So don't think about going out. Wait, I heard people can tear open dimensions. If you tear open dimension here, you would be able to go out? Guillermo asked in confusion. Di Shuiming sneer. Even if you have the power to tear open space, you can't go out in here. Those masters who tear open dimensions tear open the void space between two realms and can go to another realm. But there's another possibility, and that is the position you tear open the space is wrong and you encountered a void fissure. Once you go in, you would never be able to find the dimension spot and thus would never be able to go out. Of course, there aren't a lot of cultivators who can tear open dimensions. Most were unlucky and fell into void fissure. Then, he saluted with his fists, Brother D. I saw 5 or 6 truth realization state, peak stage cultivators at the city gates. How do they have so many truth realization state peak stages? Di Shuiming laughed. That's called a lot? I'll be honest with you. There's about 100k truth realization state cultivators in the Black Rock City. At the peak, there were about a few 100,000 of them. Look, I'm a truth realization state peak stage. Plus, aren't all the truth realization state cultivators you see truth realization state peak stage? Oh, you're an exception. I really don't get how a truth realization state level 1 can live to find Black Rock City and offend them. You're quite amazing. Guillermo was completely shocked. More than 100k truth realization state peak stage cultivators in Black Rock City. This was too absurd. What level city was this? Level 11? After a long while, Guillermo asked in shock, how can there be so many truth realization state cultivators in Black Rock City? Are there this many people falling into space fissures accidentally? Di Shuiming said sadly, because most cultivators were scammed. They came from their respective realms, and when they were about to ascend into the immortal realm, they found they couldn't get in at all. When they wanted to go back to the cultivation realm, they found they couldn't go back, so they were all trapped here. You can say that they've been abandoned by the Heaven Tao. Di Shuiming looked at the endless void fissure and chaos flow before sighing. They had great joy and hopes of ascending into the immortal realm to seek a higher cultivation state, but what greeted them wasn't that. It was endless void chaos flow, wind blades and sandstorm. Guillermo took a cold breath in. He thought of the big seal in the west extreme state sand river that stopped all cultivators from ascending into the immortal realm. He didn't expect that other realms that allowed immortal ascension were stopped halfway. Was there a huge seal in the immortal realm blocking all those cultivators wanting to ascend into it? Thinking about this, Guillermo looked at Di Shuiming. Brother D, are you too? Di Shuiming nodded. I'm also a cultivator abandoned by Heaven Tao. I came from Shunxiong cultivation realm. You think 100k truth realization state peak stage is a lot? No, this is very little. Only one in a few would be able to survive in the space fissure and find the Black Rock City. Those cultivators trapped here can only increase their lifespan every day in hopes of breaking into the immortal realm during their lifetime. Even if they can't go into the immortal realm, they would be willing to go back to their cultivation realm, but the fact is, over the countless years, no one has succeeded. Di Shuiming didn't seem to want to talk about this anymore and looked at Guillermo with curiosity. You're a truth realization state level 1 cultivator, and it's already a miracle that you survived in the void fissure. I really don't get how you offended the guards of Black Rock City, and they even send people after you. Guillermo patted his head in frustration, because I killed a young master Yu and a woman called Princess Chuan. What? Di Shuiming exclaimed in shock. Di Shuiming pulled Guillermo and said, let's quickly go. You actually offended the Black Rock City's Hades City Lord. Even if we escape to here, he will catch up to us. Shuiming pulled Yimo and said, let's quickly go. You actually offended the Black Rock City's Hades City Lord. Even if we escape to here, he will catch up to us. Yimo approved highly of this Shuiming's running capabilities, so he listened to him without hesitation, following him into the void again. On the way, Yimo realized that Shuiming's body refinement skills were even higher than his. He was at the monarch state. The wind blades didn't affect him at all. He even dashed into some space whirlpools without hesitation. After 5 days, Shuiming took Yimo to a dark red place. The space wind blades here were extremely hot. Even though Yimo was King State Body Refiner, the wind blades hurt him a little. Shuiming stopped here and panted, no matter how powerful the Black Hades is, he won't be able to find here. Then, he raised a thumb at Yimo. Your Balsi. You dare to even kill that old guy's son. Luckily you didn't see his other son, or you would have probably killed them both. Those 2 bastards, they were born by his wife. They're very spoiled but can't cultivate to higher cultivation states, so they dominate the Black Rock City. If I was there, I wouldn't be able to resist the urge to kill those bastards. Brother D, have you never been in the Black Rock City? Yimo asked in shock. He had the Golden Page world and thus could survive here. Shuiming didn't have that. Shuiming smiled. I've been living here for a few hundred years. My body refinement has reached monarch state, so I'm fine. Now I realize why you're fine in here as a truth realization state level 1. You're a body refinement cultivator too, and you've reached the king state. This is quite good. Yimo asked in confusion, Brother Di, are there a lot of body refinement cultivators in the Black Rock City? Yimo thought it was very substantial that he reached king state in body refinement cultivation. Shuiming nodded. This void fisher has no other benefits but providing a good body refinement environment. Almost all Black Rock City cultivators would come here for body refinement. Even the weakest truth realization state cultivator in Black Rock City can reach the hollow state. There's tens or even 100 of monarch states. As for the Hades City Lord, I suspect he has reached the god state. No wonder that guy is this fast. They're all body refinement masters. Yimo sighed. Shuiming shook his head. They can chase up to you not because they're body refinement masters, but because you've been leaving marks on the way. They can easily catch up to you. I was very careful and didn't leave any marks. Yimo said in confusion. Shuiming said, that's because you've just come here, and you don't know the things here. The chaos flow, sand and wind blades have a certain rule to their density. When you run, you definitely choose places with less chaos flow and wind blades, and the places you go past will have a faint mark. These marks won't disappear for a long time, and they can track you with that. Hearing this, Yimo's back was sweating cold. He didn't know the situation here. If Shuiming didn't teach him this, he would have been surrounded and killed. Shuiming continued, I took you on the path that won't leave marks. These paths would have denser chaos flow or sand, and thus the marks would be instantly washed away. After a while, we can escape their tracking. But the Black Rock City Lord is different. His spirit sense is very powerful, so we had to run a second time. Yimo saluted with his fists to Shuiming. Thank you, Brother D, for saving my life. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't even know why I was killed. Did you offend the Black Hades too? Shuiming shook his head. I didn't offend him. I offended a woman, a very beautiful woman. Shuiming said the most powerful cultivator in the city is called Black Hades Sua Anshan. The most beautiful woman is Su Qingfei, the wife of a Vice City Lord Shi Taa. She seems very conservative on the surface, but is secretly having an affair with the City Lord Sua Anshan. Seeing this, I didn't really care, but this woman stopped me many times wanting to have sex with me. How can I accept a shameless woman like her? I rejected her many times. One time, I was really annoyed and I cursed at her. Due to this, I completely offended her and couldn't survive in the city. But due to that, my body refinement reached monarch state. Yimo was in disbelief. Su Qingfei was the #1 beauty of the city. How can she be interested in the black and skinny Shuiming? Shuiming was a little annoyed being stared at like that by Yimo. Do you think I'm old, dark, and skinny so no women would like me? I'll telling you the truth. If I was interested in that woman, I would have fucked her already. Pity. I hate such shameless woman the most. Yemo sighed. But that Vice City Lord isn't having a good time then. Di Shuiming sneered. You think he doesn't know? He knows. There are some things I don't want to know, but I happen to know. Sure, TAA is just as bleak as Black Hades. If I'm right, Princess Chuan isn't his daughter, it's Black Hades' daughter. Sure, TAA knows this, but he doesn't stop Sua Yu and Princess Chuan being together. Yemo was speechless. This Black Rock City was too disgusting. Di Shuiming pointed at the dark red whirlpool ahead and said, That's the place I reached Monarch State. If you want to, you can go in there to cultivate. Yemo shook his head. I can't go in there to cultivate yet. Plus, what I want to do the most isn't to reach Monarch State, but to leave this void fissure. I must leave. I can't stay here. Di Shuiming looked at Yemo in contempt. Yemo, who doesn't want to leave here, but no one has even been able to leave. So I suggest you to give up. Yemo said firmly. I have to leave here no matter at what cost. Sensing Yemo's resolution, Di Shuiming didn't scorn at him and fell silent for a long time. If you have to leave, there's one way, but there's a 99% chance you will die. Old Black, tell me, where is it? Yemo grabbed Di Shuiming in joy. Di Shuiming patted Yemo's shoulder. Yemo, it's not that I'm underestimating you, but with your current power, you probably won't live at all. If you don't reach the 3 God states, it's pointless to tell you anyways. Di Shuiming said again, Don't worry. I have a place, and you can come with me to practice body refinement. I can assure you to reach 3 God state in a short time. Before Yemo can reply, a bleak voice said, Pity, you guys won't have that opportunity. A bleak-faced, middle-aged man came before them. Suanshan. Di Shuiming called out in shock and said to Yemo, Yemo, you're going to kill me? However, he released a dark yellow magic artifact. It was a huge seal. Yemo watched this Suanshan. He seemed to be Truth Realization State Peak Stage, but when Yemo watched closely, it wasn't just Truth Realization State Peak Stage. But Yemo couldn't tell exactly what he was. Yemo released Zisu without hesitation. Seeing this, Suanshan was so furious he laughed, Ha, you have balls. It's been some time since I saw someone who dares to use magic artifact in front of me. Di Shuiming didn't answer, but his yellow seal already smashed down. When it was first released, it was only the size of a duck, but when it appeared above Suanshan's head, it grew into a large yellow halo. Di Shuiming didn't answer, but his yellow seal already smashed down. When it was first released, it was only the size of a duck, but when it appeared above Suanshan's head, it grew into a large yellow halo. Despite just being a halo, it gave people the feeling of being extremely heavy. Yemo suspected that if it landed, even a Truth Realization State Peak Stage cultivator would be smashed into pulp. Meanwhile, Suanshan didn't use any magic artifact and just grabbed at the seal with his hand. Before his hand even touched the seal slowed down until it stopped completely. So powerful, Yemo wasn't at Suanshan's power level, but he had keen eyes. Suanshan's domain had reached a level of extreme mastery. He didn't even need to intentionally use it. Any target he wanted to attack would be affected by his domain and slowed down. Di Shuiming was using his seal at full power. He wanted to self-destruct his magic artifact while Suanshan attacked it. He knew Suanshan's power. If he didn't give up his seal, he and Yemo wouldn't have any opportunity to run. As for Yemo, Di Shuiming didn't expect him to be able to help at all. A Truth Realization State level 1 might be able to get away from some other Truth Realization State Peak Stage if he was smart, have had some ability, but that Truth Realization State Peak Stage definitely didn't include Suanshan. He was beyond Truth Realization State Peak Stage. No Truth Realization State Peak Stage can get an advantage over him. So, Di Shuiming had intended to self-destruct his most precious magic artifact right from the beginning. No matter how precious magic artifact was, it wasn't as precious as life. When he ran, if Yemo was smart, he would be able to get away. If Yemo wasn't smart, there was nothing he could do. He would have to leave first, as the opportunity would slip away quickly. But at this moment, Di Shuiming's face changed. Before his seal was fully activated, it was bound by Suanshan's cultivation essence or domain. He can't even take it back, much less self-destruct it. Despite taking Suanshan very seriously, Suwa Anshan was still far stronger than Di Shuiming expected. He was weaker than a disaster transformation state to Suwa Anshan. The moment the two fought, Yemo knew that he and Di Shuiming combined was no match for Suwa Anshan. This person was beyond truth realization state peak stage. So the moment Di Shuiming's seal was stuck, Yemo attacked with Zisu, Illusion Cloud Domain Shatter Strike. Yemo's domain was very powerful already, but he knew that his domain was nothing compared to Suwa Anshan. There was nothing else Yemo could help with other than Illusion Cloud Domain Shatter Strike. Insect. Suwa Anshan saw Yemo attack his fist with a purple kitchen knife and sneered. He could tell this knife was quite substantial, but it wasn't enough to deal with him. Di Shuiming shook his head speechlessly too. He tried to underestimate Yemo, but he realized he still overestimated him. Was he trying to give Suwa Anshan a scratch this way? But moments alter. Di Shuiming's eyes bulged, not daring to believe what he saw. The knife was at most a purple ray, but when it expanded out, it turned into a purple beam tree that emitted countless purple sword rays from it. What sword technique was this? Di Shuiming looked at the purple beam that his spirit sense couldn't scan into. Suwa Anshan was a little surprised, but before he could react, they all heard a crack. Di Shuiming felt the pressure on his seal ease and rejoiced. He just realized that Yemo's strike broke open Suwa Anshan's domain. Then, he inserted more cultivation essence into the seal, smashing down at Suwa Anshan. He wanted to fight Suwa Anshan with Yemo. The purple sword rays soon dissipated, and only Zisu was left. Yemo's heart sunk. This was one of his strongest illusion cloud moves. Usually, after breaking the domain, it would automatically turn into another illusion cloud move. But after he broke the domain, it dissipated. He used his move at full power while Suwa Anshan's domain was just used very casually. Suwa Anshan was furious that this Di Shuiming dared to keep attacking him. He waved and 12 aqua beads were thrown out and his power rose drastically. Ripples were seen in the air. Di Shuiming and Yemo were trapped by these ripples and could barely breathe. Di Shuiming and Yemo's face went really bad. They just realized this was Suwa Anshan's real domain. Ordinary cultivators can't even move in this. Such a powerful domain. The 12 beads formed a semicircle and immediately, countless lightning arcs were released. However, they didn't attack Yemo and Di Shuiming. Instead, they circulated around the 12 beads. The more they did so, the bigger the beads grew until they were basket-sized and were still growing larger. Di Shuiming's face changed again. His seal was bound again and much firmer than before. He finally realized why Suwa Anshan was able to become the city lord amidst the countless truth realization state, peak stage cultivators in the Black Rock City. The 12 beads howled and moments later formed a whirlpool each. These whirlpools soon connected together, encompassing Yemo and Di Shuiming. If the lightning whirlpool exploded, they would be turned to dust. Yemo's heart sunk. He found that together with Di Shuiming, they can't even beat half a Suwa Anshan. He was too powerful. The only thing they could do was hack open his domain and run away. This bastard is a lightning-style cultivator, and he's this powerful. No wonder no one dares to defy him in the Black Rock City. Di Shuiming cursed. Yemo expanded his domain, but didn't dare to fully activate it. He knew this wasn't Suwa Anshan's full power, not even half. He probably wanted to take them back alive. If Suwa Anshan knew his domain was in great completion and he could break free, then Suwa Anshan might attack with full power. He would have to try to escape before Suwa Anshan knew all of his cards. Yemo said quietly, he isn't a lightning element cultivator. His 12 beads are strange. It can be used to activate lightning element attacks, and I'm certain there was a lot of people against him in the Black Rock City, but he killed them all. Which truth realization state peak stage didn't have their own pride. No matter how powerful Suwa Anshan was, he couldn't have controlled the entire Black Rock City at the start. Di Shuiming nodded, I know this, but how do you know he isn't lightning element cultivator? Yemo didn't answer. He was lightning element cultivator too. He wanted to rob these 12 lightning orbs and give it to Yemo in the future. Just when Di Shuiming wanted to keep talking, he suddenly felt his body ease up. He immediately saw an invisible circle expand out from Yemo. He checked with his spirit sense and immediately realized this was Yemo's domain. His face was full of shock. He finally realized why Yemo could survive in the Void Fissure. Not only was his body refinement in king state, but his power was no weaker than him. Yemo was only truth realization state level 1, and he was this strong. He finally realized why Yemo could survive in the Void Fissure. Not only was his body refinement in king state, but his power was no weaker than him. Yemo was only truth realization state level 1, and he was this strong. Thinking about Yemo's strike before, Di Shuiming was disappointed to realize that if he fought with Yemo, he probably was no match for him. Di Shuiming didn't know that this wasn't all of his means, at most 1/3. Although they could move now, it was impossible to release their magic artifact as the region Yemo broke open was too little. Suo Anshan immediately noticed his domain being opened. The reason he hasn't used a lethal blow was as Yemo thought. He wanted Yemo alive, and then torture him slowly. Although Yemo wasn't able to knock away his domain, but just being able to break free from his domain was very substantial. Just when Suo Anshan wanted to use other means, he suddenly saw a dark green shadow fly past in the dark red space. Just when it was about to leave, it was stopped by a windblade whirlpool and it began to struggle. Void Life Force Marrow. Di Shuiming and Suo Anshan called out at the same time. Void Life Force Marrow could be the most valuable spirit item Yemo had seen other than Bitter Bamboo. But of course, comparing Bitter Bamboo with Void Life Force Marrow was lowering Bitter Bamboo's status. Void Life Force Marrow wasn't worth 1/1000th of Bitter Bamboo. Void Life Force Marrow grew in the void. The deeper the color, the more precious it was. This Void Life Force Marrow was green. Its value was immeasurable. Ordinary cultivators who ate Void Life Force Marrow could live 100,000 years longer. Of course, there was no cultivator dumb enough to eat it straight away. They would usually concoct it into pills. The other use of it was to truly grow flesh from bones. Most spirit herbs in the world could only save someone with an essence spirit left, but the Void Life Force Marrow could save someone who didn't have an essence spirit. It could allow someone to grow a new essence spirit and recover his past memories and abilities. But only Void Life Force Marrow that reaches purple color can do this. Seeing this, Yemo immediately thought of Nye Shuangshuang. But Yemo also realized that it was impossible for him to get it as Suo Anshan already saw it. He didn't even know if he could escape from Suo Anshan, much less rob this Void Life Force Marrow. Seeing the Void Life Force Marrow, Suo Anshan's eyes lit up. He thought of his son. If there was this, he might be saved. Its quality was a little low, but it was better than nothing. Plus, it was such a large piece. Suo Anshan glanced at Yemo and Di Shuiming, whom he trapped and didn't go up to take the Void Life Force Marrow. He shot out tins of faint blue flames surrounding the 12 lightning beads. This meant that even if Yemo and Di Shuiming broke free from Suo Anshan's domain and 12 lightning beads, they wouldn't be able to escape the blue flames. Seeing this, Di Shuiming's face looked pale and he murmured, "Prison of Heaven Flame. I forgot this bastard had Li Ming Flame." Yemo's eyes narrowed. Prison of Heaven Flame clearly was just a way of using Heaven Flame trapping someone inside. There was no other way of escape other than charging through the Heaven Flame. But the Heaven Flame was blue color that would be suicide. Of course, Yemo wasn't afraid of this. He had a way to escape. It was simple. Burn open the fire with the more higher caliber Mist Lotus Heart Fire. The Heaven Flame prison was powerful, but it was just a method of using Heaven Flame. It was much weaker than his Heaven Flame 9 Suns. But he couldn't use the Heaven Flame 9 Suns well enough. If he could release 3 purple suns, Suo Anshan could only wait to be melted. Yemo rejoiced that his Heaven Flame was also blue color and much higher ranked than Suo Anshan's flame. Otherwise, he would be in trouble. If he was willing, he could also use Mist Lotus Heart Fire to trap someone, but he felt pity he could only at most take Suo Anshan's 12 lightning orbs after breaking free of his domain. He wouldn't have the time to take Suo Anshan's Heaven Flame as he would be back already. What do we do? Di Shuiming was almost in despair seeing the Heaven Flame prison. Yemo didn't answer Di Shuiming. He didn't want Suo Anshan to be wary of him. Hearing this, Suo Anshan sneered and left for the Void Life Force Marrow without even looking at Yemo and Di Shuiming. Yemo's sound transmission to Di Shuiming, Old Black. Follow me closely. We'll run now. Di Shuiming really wanted to ask where could they run to in the Heaven Flame prison, but he knew regardless they would die. Instead of being captured and tortured, he might as well die to the Heaven Flame, so he smiled bitterly. Let's break free from his domain and the 12 lightning orbs first. But Di Shuiming stopped. He suddenly felt Emo's power rise, and at the same time expanded his domain out that was many times stronger than before. He didn't expect Emo was this powerful, daring to conserve power in front of Sua Anshan. At the same time, Emo released Illusion Cloud Domain Shatterstrike again. The purple ray extended 100 meters long and sliced open a way out. Crack. They could leave now? Di Shuiming rejoiced, and took back his seal, but at the same time he remembered the 12 lightning beads. They only broke open the first barricade, the simplest one. But then, he immediately saw Emo charge towards the 12 lightning beads, as though he wanted to steal it. He's crazy. Di Shuiming murmured and looked at Emo. Sua Anshan instantly noticed his domain being broken, but he didn't even look at Emo. He was prepared that Emo was able to break open his domain. But he believed that no matter how strong Emo was, a mere truth realization state level 1 wasn't able to break free from the 12 lightning orbs. Di Shuiming soon found that Emo already grabbed one of the lightning orbs. All of the lightning arcs on the surface instantly went inside Emo's body. What shook him even more was that it disappeared, and Emo was completely fine. Di Shuiming soon found that Emo already grabbed one of the lightning orbs. All of the lightning arcs on the surface instantly went inside Emo's body. What shook him even more was that it disappeared, and Emo was completely fine. How does he do it? Di Shuiming murmured to himself. These lightning orbs have already formed a formation. Each orb was equivalent to a formation flag. These formation flag equivalents were extremely powerful, and it wasn't possible to grab it just with power. Because if you grabbed one, you wouldn't be just grabbing one lightning orb, you would be attacked by all 12 lightning orbs. No matter how powerful you were, you can't grab one lightning orb and make the other ones not attack you. The only possibility was that the person doing this was a Formation Grandmaster, or even higher. Plus, even a Formation Grandmaster wouldn't be able to defend against the lightning source attack from one of the orbs. There was so much lightning circulating the surface of the orbs. Yet, Emo did it. Before Di Shuiming could react, Emo took away all the other 11 lighting orbs into the Golden Page world and locked them with a simple restriction. How dare you? Sua Anshan was furious. If it wasn't that he already controlled the Void Life Force Marrow, he would be coming over to teach Emo a lesson. The Void Life Force Marrow wasn't so easily controlled. It had its own will, and one mistake, it would disappear into the void. So, he didn't dare to leave before completely capturing it. The main thing was that he believed even if Emo broke free from his domain and took his 12 lightning orbs, he wouldn't be able to escape from the Heaven Flame prison. Even a powerful cultivator would need a few days, or even a month to break free. He only needed about half a minute, and he would be able to completely control the Void Life Force Marrow and free himself to deal with these insolent brats. Quickly go! Sua Anshan is about to control the Void Life Force Marrow. Di Shuiming suddenly stopped and his face was full of despair. He forgot about the Heaven Flame prison due to Yemo's magnificent show. He immediately realized that they still weren't able to break free. Yemo was watching Sua Anshan the whole time. Seeing that Sua Anshan didn't come over immediately, Yemo sneered that old thing still needs a few seconds. We have enough time. Then, Yemo waved out a blue flame with his hands. The flame burned onto the Heaven Flame that stopped them. Blue mist lotus heart fire. Di Shuiming looked at this in shock. Yemo's Heaven Flame clashed with the Heaven Flame prison, creating a sizzling sound. 3 seconds later, they burned a huge crack in the Heaven Flame prison. Before Di Shuiming could say anything, Yemo said, "Let's go." Di Shuiming didn't need Yemo to tell him now. The two sped up and immediately disappeared. Even in the Void Fissure, they raised their speed to the extreme. Even being swooped away by void dangers was better than falling into the hands of Sua Anshan. The instant the two escaped, Sua Anshan knew, and he was so angry he almost spat blood. "I'm going to tear you apart." Sua Anshan put away the void life force marrow but wasn't happy at all. He was angry to the extreme. The two insects ran, and that truth realization state level 1 insect took his 12 lightning orbs. Sua Anshan put away his heaven flame, but there was no sign of Yimo and Di Shuiming in his spirit sense. The Void Fisher limited spirit sense greatly, and even without the limit, he wouldn't be able to sense them after this long. But looking at the direction they ran, Sua Anshan sneered. These two were too inexperienced. He had already marked the 12 lightning orbs with his spirit sense. No matter how far they were, he could sense Yimo's direction based on it. No one could remove his spirit sense mark in such a short time. Even the most powerful cultivator would need at least a day, so he wasn't worried that Yimo got away at all. But when he extended his will, his face changed dramatically. He found that he couldn't sense the direction of his 12 lightning orbs at all. While running, Di Shuiming was still shook at Yimo's endless means and his bravery to steal the 12 lightning orbs. Just how much balls did Yimo have? After a few thousand kilometers, Di Shuiming said desperately to Yimo, "Yimo, quickly throw those 12 lightning orbs away. I know it's good, but it's marked with Sua Anshan's print. He might be able to chase up to us based on that." Yimo smiled. "Even if he comes, I won't throw it away. If Brother Di is worried, you can leave first." Di Shuiming's face sunk. "Who do you think I am? Even you don't fear that, Sua Anshan. I'm an immortal ascension cultivator. How can I be afraid?" Yimo didn't expose Di Shuiming, but regardless, he was good enough to be a friend. What shook Di Shuiming was that they had been running for nearly 10 days, but there was still no sign of Sua Anshan. "This isn't right," Di Shuiming murmured to himself, and then he said, "Yimo, where did you put the lightning orbs at? There's no reason that Sua Anshan didn't chase up. Take it out and see." Of course Yimo wasn't going to take it out. If he took it out now, it was telling Sua Anshan where they were. So he shook his head without hesitation. Seeing this, Di Shuiming didn't say anything. After all, they just met for a short time. Where is this place? Yimo looked at the densely clustered space ripples and lines. Is this where I practiced body refinement before? The center of a void storm is ahead. I've tried breaking through to disaster state before, but I failed many times. Di Shuiming pointed at this place and said. Then Di Shuiming sighed. Without high-level supplementary spirit herb, I'm probably stuck in monarch state. I've used up the spirit herb I had before. I don't even have a level 1 spirit herb now. Supplementary spirit herb? Yimo asked in confusion. He had never used some spirit herb from 1's to 6th state. Seeing this, Di Shuiming asked with more confusion, body refinement needs large amounts of supplementary spirit herb. Did you reach King state without using spirit herb? If so, you probably would have died countless times. Yimo didn't suspect Di Shuiming's words. The reason he recovered perfectly each time after sustaining such injuries was due to the 3 birth chant. I took some pills. Yimo could only say. Di Shuiming nodded. Body refinement is actually completely different to cultivation. If possible, just use spirit herb pills directly. It's much better than using pills. Su magic artifact, swordgrass, blue blood are all great body refinement herbs. Of course, the best is high-level spirit beast blood. If there's a level 11 untransformed spirit beast, its blood would be the best. Yimo thought. What about the tens of drops of Kuan blood he got? Thinking about this, Yimo immediately asked, what about God Beast blood? Di Shuiming laughed. God Beast? Haha, that's of the legends. If you really have it, I'll only need 1 drop. No, half a drop and I can reach disaster state, and you can reach monarch state without any problems. Then, Di Shuiming looked at the jade bottle that suddenly appeared in Yimo's hands. Don't tell me you have God Beast blood in the jade bottle? Then, Di Shuiming looked at the jade bottle that suddenly appeared in Yimo's hands. Don't tell me you have God Beast blood in the jade bottle. Yimo smiled and took out a smaller bottle dripping 1 drop inside and gave it to Di Shuiming. You guessed it. This is God Beast Kuan's blood. I'll give you 1 drop for you to reach disaster state. After dazing for a long time, Di Shuiming took the bottle and sniffed it. Then, he looked at Yimo in shock. It really is God Beast Kuan's blood. How can you get the blood of such a royal God Beast? Yimo smiled. I'll be honest with you. That god beast Kuin is inside here too. Even Sua Anshan is probably not enough for a few casual claws from him. You need to be careful using its blood for body refinement. Di Shuiming took a cold breath in. I find that the longer I stay with you, the more I don't get you. You can even get god beast Kuin's blood and steal 12 lightning orbs from Sua Anshan. I really don't know what you don't dare to do. Yimo smiled. Go practice body refinement. I will do so as well. We'll talk later. Then you take me to the tunnel that can leave this place. Yimo threw Di Shuiming a communication bead. Di Shuiming took it and nodded seriously. Okay. After you reach 3 god states, I will take you over. He knew that Yimo wasn't going to give up no matter what, so he might spirit artifact well go help him. Then he said, the god beast blood should be used based on power. With our power, we should only use half a drop, using more is a waste. But if you digest the blood, there won't be any marks. Even if god beast Kuin stood before you, he wouldn't know. Okay, thank you. Yimo saluted with his fists and turned into the endless space lines. Seeing this, Di Shuiming murmured, there's actually such person in the word. He can even get Kuin's blood, but give it out casually. Di Shuiming changed a direction and disappeared. He wanted to break through into disaster state immediately. Yimo was very fast and left this place. He came next to a space wind blade whirlpool. He didn't jump in immediately. He came here not to body refinement, but to spirit control the 12 lightning orbs. He needed to go into the Golden Page world to do that, and it wasn't convenient to stay with Di Shuiming. Yimo just into the space wind blade whirlpool and went straight into the Golden Page world. In the Golden Page world, Yimo picked up the 12 lightning beads. The 12 lightning orbs were quickly thrown into the Golden Page world, and they still had lightning circulating around them. In order to quickly spirit control these 12 orbs, Yimo spat out essence blood. After the orbs were immersed in Yimo's essence blood, they were quickly spirit controlled. As Yimo kept spirit controlling more lightning orbs, the lightning arcs gradually disappeared from the surface of the lightning orbs. The 12 lightning orbs returned to Longan-sized, and their color went from a dull blue to an aqua color. The 12 beads were very pretty. After spirit controlling them, Yimo realized that they weren't called lightning orbs but lightning sea magical orbs. There were supposed to be 36 orbs altogether, and Sua Anshan only got 12. If there were 24 orbs, its power would increase countless folds, and when all 36 were gathered, there would be heaven-shattering power. This is a good thing indeed. Yimo sighed after spirit controlling these 12 orbs. He put the lightning sea magical orbs away. No matter if he could find the remaining 24, he was planning to give these 12 to Yimo as a present. As soon as Yimo was done, Sua Anshan, who was still searching for Yimo, and Di Shuiming sap blood in the air. This was because he was so angry that Yimo actually spirit controlled his 12 LSM. How could he tolerate such insult? But he had to. Yimo wasn't going to care about what Sua Anshan felt. That had nothing to do with him. He came out of the Golden Page world now and left this Windblade whirlpool. It could help him reach King State, but it wasn't enough for him to reach Monarch State. Yimo wanted to go to the center of the space storm. He wanted to test if the Kuin blood really had that much benefit for body refinement. In the Void Fissure, there were countless space storms. The smaller ones were space string whirlpools. The larger ones were space sand and line whirlpools mixed together. There were some space sand, wind blades, chaos flow, and fissures mixed together. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't even be able to last long, even if they were truth realization state peak stage there. Yimo found a middle-grade space storm and took out a drop of Kuin blade and ate it. He had a lot of it, so he didn't need to listen to Di Shuiming. He just ate one and had decided that he would go into this Golden Page world immediately if there was any danger. As soon as he drank it, Yimo felt his organs were going to be torn apart. Moments later, his skin went red. Yimo wanted to cut himself with a sword right now. Yimo was shook and jumped into the storm. He finally realized why Di Shuiming told him to use half. This terrifying explosive power would have torn his organs apart if he wasn't King State body refinement. One could see that the Kuin beast would be fine as long as he didn't get caught in the scariest space disposition. Yimo's armor and clothes were instantly torn apart when he came into the storm. The countless wind blades, sand and lines ravaged on his body. Yimo felt that the instant his skin was torn, They grew back out again rapidly. Emo finally understood the use of the Kuan blood and didn't dare to waste time at all. He used the 3 birth chant and 3 god body refinement chant together. In a short while, he reached a state of self-unawareness. With the help of the Kuan blood, his skin and every part of his bone and muscle were being reorganized. 3 days later, there was gurgling sounds when his cultivation essence flowed. A week later, Emo's cultivation essence stored to a breaking point and finally exploded in his body. Then, in a heavy thud, the rustling sound broke the stopping barrier and cultivation essence flowed freely. Emo felt easy, and that instant the scorching and tearing sensation disappeared. The space storm was like a tickle to him now. Emo howled. He knew that he not only reached the monarch state of the 3 god states, and he also break through to truth realization state level 2. This was the first time he broke through without using time formation disk. Truth realization state level 2 and monarch state body refinement. Emo knew that even in the Black Rock City, his power was ranked ahead. After changing a set of clothes, Emo casually walked around the center of the space storm. In a short time, he walked everywhere in this storm that would have easily killed him before. Now, Emo felt his power. He exclaimed, this void fissure was indeed an extremely good place for body refinement. Emo was still in disbelief at the power of the Kuan blood, making him reach monarch state in 10 days. Emo didn't contact Di Shueming. He didn't know if he reached disaster state now, but he needed to reach that state. The tunnel of escape Di Shueming told him about was extremely dangerous. He had to bring his body refinement to the extreme. Black Rock City. There were tens of truth realization state peak stage cultivators at the door. Suwa Anshan's face was sullen. The 2 beautiful women next to him were sobbing. Clearly the void life force Maro wasn't high level enough, and thus was useless. Where is Vice City Lord Sure? Suwa Anshan asked coldly. The younger beautiful woman behind Suwa Anshan bowed and said in a sad and soft voice, Shirtie went into the void fissure alone to get revenge for Chuan. The younger beautiful woman behind Suwa Anshan bowed and said in a sad and soft voice, Shirtie went into the void fissure alone to get revenge for Chuan. Swan Anshan sneered but said to the tins of truth realization, state, peak stage cultivators here, even if I flip over this void region, I'm going to find that insect. Emo appeared in an even more violent space storm center. He wanted to reach disaster state here, but he knew that it wouldn't be so easy. He wasn't sure how much time he would need, but he wasn't sure if someone would come over while he was cultivating. In order to avoid being ambushed, Emo spent a day to set up a level 9 Space 9 Illusions attack formation. This formation was based on his understanding of the space seal at Sand River and his illusion cloud. Other than him, no formation Grandmaster would be able to see through it quickly. This attack formation was hidden into the void. He learnt this from the ice god Forbidden Grounds. Emo believed that there wouldn't be a lot of formation Grandmaster who knew this. The only problem was spirit source, but this was the center of the space storm. There was very dense spirit chi. Emo set up tins of extreme-grade spirit stones, and then the formation was erected. However, after reaching Monarch State, Emo found that he could defend against the space storm easily. Was he already developing resistance? Emo was speechless. He only used 1 drop of Kuan blood, and now there was resistance. So when 1 drop didn't work, he immediately ate a 2nd drop. After 4 drops, Emo felt he was still at the tertiary stage of Monarch State. Being used to the speed of cultivation, Emo couldn't tolerate such slow speed, so he ate 10 drops at once. With this, Emo immediately felt that terrifying scorching heat in his body. Strange spirit power ran rampant in his body. It was as though next moment, he would turn to dust. It was useful. Emo was happy and used 3 birth chant as well as 3 god body refinement chant. At the same time, he started moving towards the center of the whirlpool. As he used his cultivation method, the scorching sensation was weakening and his skin was repairing faster. The meridians were being reorganized again and again. Even his blood started to change. It flowed very fast, and even after loss of blood, his wounds would immediately heal instantly without the use of pills or cultivation method. The space storm now was like a soft breeze on his body. It couldn't bring about any more gashes on his body. Yimo knew that he barely reached disaster state primary stage now. But he also knew that even if he used up all his Kuan blood, he wouldn't be able to reach God state. He might have a chance if we went into Space Disposition River, but Yimo wasn't going to do this. He can risk his life for cultivation, but he won't go suicide. In those places, he might not even get the chance to enter the Golden Page world. Unless he was Truth Realization State peak stage, then he would try. It was time to look for Shuiming and let him take him to the tunnel that he could leave through. As soon as Yimo got out of the space whirlpool, he saw there was a man waiting outside. He was extremely handsome, seeming very heroic and brave. Just with his looks, he would have countless women fall for him. If this person cared a little more about the way he dressed, he would definitely get more attention. This man had such a heroic and manly look, but he wore a red flowery robe. Thus, his good looks were turned wrong with this incoherent dress. Yimo wasn't shook at this person's looks, but how he stayed outside for so long. He only noticed when he came out. This person was also Truth Realization State peak stage. If this person ambushed him when he came up, he would be injured. But of course, this was if he didn't set up the attack formation. Thinking about this, Yimo rejoiced for setting up the attack formation. He wasn't afraid at all if this person attacked. He really couldn't think he was in a place no one could find. He had only been here for a short while some cultivators were here for a few thousand years. The places he thought were obscure probably weren't to those cultivators. Seeing Yimo come out of the space storm safely, this cultivator was a little shook but nodded. Although your Truth Realization State level 1, your body refinement is at disaster state. This is very amazing. And you escaped from Suwa Anshan and took his 12 lightning orbs. Outstanding. Yimo looked calm, but he wasn't calm on the inside. Who was this person? How did he know? He didn't think Suwa Anshan would tell everyone he lost his 12 lightning orbs. Either this person was very close to Suwa Anshan, or he was watching Suwa Anshan's every move. Seeing that Yimo was calm but wary, the handsome man smiled. Don't worry, I have no ill will. My name is Yang Feijing. Of course I have another name, Shi Taa. Yimo was shook. He knew Shi Taa, the Vice City Lord of Black Rock City. Seeing Yimo's bewildered expression, he laughed at himself. Do you think it's strange I have two names? But if you stayed at Black Rock City for a long time, perhaps you would know. It was probably Shuiming who told you my name, right? Perhaps he would say I'm being cheated on, right? Yimo didn't expect this Shi Taa to be this blatant about this. But Yimo didn't know what Shi Taa meant. Clearly, he had conflict with Suwa Anshan, so he saluted with his fists. I'm Yimo. Greet City Lord Shi. How do you know I'm here? Shi Taa laughed. I don't know you're here, but I know Shuiming would escape here because this is the place he thinks is the safest. I've known what he thought 100 years ago. After I knew you left with Shuiming, I came here to wait for you. Hearing this, Yimo's heart sunk. If Shi Taa knew Shuiming would come here, what about Suwa Anshan? Yimo scanned with spirit sense immediately. Shi Taa smiled again. Brother, you don't worry. Only I know Shuiming is here. I care about those friends kicked out of the Black Rock City by Suwa Anshan, so I care about Shuiming too. Other people wouldn't care about it. Yimo immediately knew what Shi Taa meant. Shi Taa's words showed that one day he wanted to join up with Shuiming and them. So, he knew a lot about Shuiming, but Shuiming didn't know it at all. Shi Taa also meant that he might be asking to form an alliance. He and Shuiming wouldn't be able to reject it because they wouldn't be able to escape based on his knowledge of Shuiming. Yimo sneered in his heart. Even though it was good to attack Suwa Anshan together, he didn't like being threatened like this. Shi Taa said, Shuiming is a good man. That bitch tried to seduce him, but he ignored her. Yimo frowned. He wasn't interested in this drama, so he said coldly, City Lord Shi, if there's something you want to say, then say it. I'm busy, I don't have time to waste here. Shi Taa wasn't angry at all. He smiled. I admire you greatly for being able to escape Suwa Anshan. Since you fought with him, I supposed you know that you have no opportunity facing him. My purpose for finding you is simple. I want to join forces with you. Yimo sneered, City Lord Shi. I'm a mere Truth Realization State primary stage cultivator. It was lucky that I escaped from Suwa Anshan. You wouldn't think I can fight him head-on, right? Sure, Taa smiled. Of course I don't, but you're the most powerful truth realization state primary stage I've ever seen. If we join forces, I only want half of the things inside his storage ring. By the way, do you know how many good things there are in Suwa Anshan's storage ring? Half of the Immortal Ascension Cultivator's things are in his possession. With all the rare ores he had found all these years, you wouldn't even dare to imagine how wealthy he is. Yemo had really never thought of this, and now that Sure Taa said this, he thought. Clearly, those cultivators in the Void Fissure were all truth realization state cultivators, and were the elite of each cultivation realm. They clearly had the best things. If only 10% fell into Suwa Anshan's hands, and he took half of that, it would be as wealthy as a state, much less half. Yemo had really never thought of this, and now that Sure Taa said this, he thought. Clearly, those cultivators in the Void Fissure were all truth realization state cultivators, and were the elite of each cultivation realm. They clearly had the best things. If only 10% fell into Suwa Anshan's hands, and he took half of that, it would be as wealthy as a state, much less half. Seeing that Yemo was interested, Sure Taa said, plus, you think Suwa Anshan really can't capture you? There are countless truth realization state cultivators in the city. If they were really going to search this entire place, one day you and Shuiming would be caught. Yemo didn't argue with this. He knew Sure Taa was right, so he asked coldly, I really want to know. How did you know my location, and how did you find me so accurately? Sure Taa smiled and suddenly waved his hand. An ore fell into his hand, and he threw it to Yemo, because I have this. As soon as Yemo got it, he saw a surveillance formation inside. This formation restriction is very hidden, and if he didn't look closely, he wouldn't be able to see it at all. The ore was so low level, who would go check it in the Void Fissure? As soon as he got here, there was a surveillance formation? Yemo thought about how Sure Taa knew he took Suwa Anshan's 12 lightning orbs and was immediately shook. He didn't. Seeing Yemo's shocked face, Sure Taa smiled. You're right. In these few centuries, I've set up countless surveillance ores in this Void Fissure. They let me know anything that happens in this void. Only I can pick it up and see the formation inside. Anyone else who picks it up, the ore will turn into an ordinary ore. So no matter where you and Shuiming escape to, I can find you. Then, there was pride in his eyes, because no one knows that I'm actually a level 9 formation Grand Master. Yemo took a cold breath in. This Sure Taa was really bleak. In a few hundred years, he did nothing but mark down formations. Clearly, he only had one goal, and that was to kill Suwa Anshan. Such a forbearing guy. Yemo subconsciously looked at Sure Taa. He couldn't tell that he really hated Suwa Anshan. Why did he do this? Yemo really wanted to annihilate Suwa Anshan so that after he left, Old Black would be safer, but he didn't lose his mind. He knew Suwa Anshan's power. He's definitely the most powerful cultivator he had ever seen. Sure Taa wasn't in a rush and was waiting for Yemo's answer. Yemo fell silent for a while before looking at him. I'm only a truth realization state level 2 cultivator. Old Black is not bad, but he's only an ordinary truth realization state peak stage. There are too many like him in the city. Why did you come to me? Sure Taa nodded. Good question. Because you're the only one in the entire city who can help me. I'm a wood element cultivator. If Suwa Anshan doesn't have the Li-Ming fire, I wouldn't be scared of him, but his heaven flame counters me. My magic is useless in front of him. Then, Yemo looked at Sure Taa in disbelief. This means that if Suwa Anshan doesn't have Li-Ming flame, you can be evenly matched with him? Sure Taa smiled pridefully. Even if we can't be evenly matched, he wouldn't be able to do anything to me. With my formation and your help, I believe that I can kill him. Although Yemo was beginning to believe him, he still asked, City Lord Sure, since you have formation means against Suwa Anshan, then no matter how powerful his heaven flame is, he wouldn't be able to do anything to you. Why did you wait till today? Sure Taa said heavily, I can fight him and trap him with formation, but I don't dare to take that risk. I only have this chance. If I lose it, I won't be able to rest in peace. Sure Taa's tone became agitated. He clenched his fists and said shakily, I, Yang Feijing, have to change my name to Sure Taa and not dare to use my name outside. I have to dress like a woman and not dare to do anything to my woman who cheats on me with Sua Anshan. All for today. I will kill Sua Anshan myself. I hate him. I hate him so much. I only have one chance, so I definitely can't lose it. Yemo looked at the agitated Shirtaa and felt sympathy. He even felt that this Shirtaa was more trustworthy. But considering how forbearing he was, Yemo would rather mess with Sua Anshan than Shirtaa. Shirtaa calmed down after a long while and said, "Apologies for the emotions. What do you think, Brother Yi?" Yemo had a sudden feeling that it was all a show. Otherwise, how can he calm his emotions so easily? If this guy really acted that out, Yemo was sure he was better than an Oscar winner. Yemo agreed in his heart already. Because for him, if he didn't kill Sua Anshan wouldn't let him go anyways. Shirtaa suddenly said again, "Sua Anshan sent out more than 100 truth realization state cultivators searching for you, and used 2 level 10 spirit hounds to find you." Yemo knew Shirtaa said the truth, so he nodded. "Okay, I agree. I'll contact Dishueming. As for how to set up the trap, you can do it." Shirtaa nodded. "Okay, we will set up here. You've cultivated here for half a month. I'm certain that he can find here. He will first confirm how long you were cultivating here for. If he is certain that you've cultivated here for half a month, he won't suspect you. You just need to leave a little accidental clue, and I'm sure they would be able to find here in 3 days." Shirtaa continued, "During these 3 days, I will set up a level 9 trap formation and a level 9 attack formation." Then, Shirtaa hesitated and asked, "By the way, how's your formation skills?" Yemo nodded. "It's not bad. I'm not level 6, but I'm a level 5 formation great master. If you tell me about your level 9 formation, I can help you control it." Shirtaa nodded, "Sure." Then, Yemo contacted Dishueming, but he didn't get a reply. Seeing this, Shirtaa said calmly, "I really only need you. Otherwise it's no use how many more come, as they wouldn't be able to stop Sua Anshan's heaven flame." Yemo was shook. Shirtaa had such confidence, he didn't think he was bluffing. When Shirtaa was setting up formation, Yemo was watching on the side. Shirtaa didn't mind. Seeing the formation flags Shirtaa threw out, they were all made with extreme grade materials. Clearly, Shirtaa had been preparing for them for a long time. Seeing this, Yemo exclaimed, "Masters were really everywhere." Shirtaa's formation skills were on par with him. He didn't have the ability to hide the formation flags in the void, but he could use the space whirlpools and wind blades to hide them. A day later, a hidden trap formation, 6 cauldron formation, and an attack formation, ringed immortal slaughter formation was set up. If Yemo didn't see it with his own eyes, he wouldn't be able to sense it in a short time. They weren't very rare formations, but there can be countless variations depending on the people controlling it. If he wasn't a level 9 formation grandmaster and didn't set up the 9 illusion attack formation, he wouldn't join forces with Shirtaa, because going in the formation meant that his life would be controlled by Shirtaa. Yemo would never let someone else control his life. Then, Shirtaa said to Yemo, "I can't come too closer or Sua Anshan would notice. Don't worry. As soon as he comes, I will help you." Yemo felt there was some questionable things about this Shirtaa, but he still nodded. "Okay, I'll lure Anshan here." He wasn't scared of Shirtaa. He had his own formations. Yemo wasn't afraid of Shirtaa because his formation flags were hidden in the void. It was a level 9 formation he created himself too. Even if Shirtaa was watching here, he might not be able to find it. Yemo wasn't afraid of Shirtaa because his formation flags were hidden in the void. It was a level 9 formation he created himself too. Even if Shirtaa was watching here, he might not be able to find it. Plus, Shirtaa set up his formation normally, meaning that Shirtaa didn't notice his formation or didn't take it into consideration at all. After Shirtaa left, Yemo went into the Storm Center for body refinement again. At the same time, he told Dishueming to not look for him. He was afraid that Dishueming would crash into Sua Anshan when he came. Shirtaa told him to leave some marks and Sua Anshan would be able to find here in at most 3 days. But before the end of the second day, Sua Anshan's people found where Yemo was. It was 3 truth realization state cultivators, They immediately surrounded the storm center and sent out a message. In less than a day, Suwa Anshan brought 10 truth realization state cultivators over here. In order to not let Suwa Anshan know that he reached disaster state, he intentionally covered himself in wounds. Suwa Anshan, Yemo didn't need to act and just immediately let out his power. Suwa Anshan looked at Yemo coldly before trying to make himself sound calm. You have balls. You stole my 12 lightning orbs and still dare to practice body refinement like nothing happened. Very well. Yemo could tell that Suwa Anshan was trying to make himself calm, but he couldn't, so Yemo added oil to fire. Before I did this, I killed your son. Suwa Anshan's eyes were about to spew out flames. He stared at Yemo, and after a few seconds, he waved to the other truth realization state cultivators. I'm going to shred him alive. This rat is very cunning. Seal off any space he can escape from. I won't allow him to escape from me again. Yes. The 13 truth realization state cultivators agreed. With them here, not even a fine sand could escape this place. But as soon as they said this, Suwa Anshan's face changed. He immediately crushed a communication bead. He looked coldly at the 13 cultivators. Song and Wu Tian, stay. The rest of you gather my men and return to the city. I will capture this rat and come back immediately. All those who are involved in the coup must be killed. Other than the 2 cultivators who came first, the remaining 11 agreed and turned to leave. Seeing this, Yemo knew it was caused by Shi Taa. Clearly, he set up the coup. Just how long has this guy been waiting for this day? He was clearly used by Shi Taa, but he had to use his full power. Yemo knew that even without him, Suwa Anshan wouldn't be able to beat Shi Taa today. Theoretically, with Shi Taa's power, he should have long found an opportunity to attack Suwa Anshan. Why did he drag it on till today? Yemo definitely wouldn't believe it was purely because of this Li Ming fire. As soon as the 11 cultivators left, Suwa Anshan's power rose drastically, and even the space wind blades and sands were forced off by his power. Moments later, Yemo, who was more than 10 meters away from Suwa Anshan, found difficulty breathing. Such a powerful force, Yemo was shook. He just realized that Suwa Anshan didn't even use half his power last time. Rat, if I still let you escape from me today, I'm not Suwa Anshan. Suwa Anshan said word by word as his force kept increasing. A cultivation essence force field whirlpool formed around him. It was as though being swooped in would result in defeat. A dark snake-like figure rose up next to him that grew larger and larger as it circulated around him. Yemo released octagonal cauldron without hesitation. Seeing this, Suwa Anshan was surprised and said, Great, great. You rob quite some good things indeed. Not only do you have blue mist lotus heartfire, but also this extreme grade defense magic artifact. It's not a waste for me to hunt you personally for a month. Yemo was at a loss for words. Suwa Anshan was right. He really did rob the octagonal cauldron. Haha. Just when Suwa Anshan was about to attack, a laughter sounded. City Lord Su. Who made you so angry? It's you? Shi Taa? Suwa Anshan stopped and looked coldly at him. Since when did Vice City Lord Shi have the courage to laugh in front of me? Did your balls get bigger after your daughter died? Shi Taa said calmly, I have no daughter, but I heard City Lord Suwa's daughter was killed, so I came to help. Suwa Anshan sneered, Vice City Lord Shi, such a big heart. You don't even want your daughter. Shi Taa said calmly, ever since I began cultivation I severed off my genitals. How can I have a daughter? I didn't lie to you. I don't have a daughter. Humph. Suwa Anshan sneered, then Shi Yuchuan isn't your daughter. Suwa Anshan's face suddenly changed, and he pointed at Shi Taa, saying shakily, You're saying? You're saying? Shi Yuchuan is my. Shi Taa laughed. Shi Yuchuan's last name is Shi, but there's so many people in the world with that surname, just like Suwa. This isn't strange. Why does she have to be my daughter? If she changes to Suwa Yuchuan, then wouldn't she be City Lord Suwa's daughter? I also heard that Princess Chuan sleeps with young Master Suwa every night. Suwa Anshan could no longer resist the horror and fury in his heart. He splat blood on the spat and his power roared, I'm going to eat you alive, Yang Feijing. The person he hated the most now wasn't Yemo, but this Vice City Lord Shi. Shi Taa threw out a few formation flags and smiled. City Lord Su. Still remembers my name. I'm quite honored. Before Suwa Anshan could even expand his domain, a truth realization state cultivator suddenly pulled out a 15 cultivation method black sword. But it flew towards Suwa Anshan. This was the truth realization state cultivator Suwa Anshan kept to help stop EMO. The other truth realization state cultivator dazed. He clearly didn't expect his pal would ambush City Lord Suwa. Before he could react, the black sword had pierced Suwa Anshan's armor, injuring him. Suwa Anshan yelled and grabbed behind him. That truth realization state cultivator couldn't even resist and was grabbed at the head by Suwa Anshan. He spat multiple streams of blood, and even his essence spirit was crushed by the furious Suwa Anshan. Suwa Anshan threw, and that body turned into a bloody mist. Suwa Anshan's eyes were red and said coldly to the other cultivator, "Huatsong, Wu Tian ambushed me just then. Did you want to ambush me too? Speak." The other truth realization state, peak stage cultivator said with a pale face, "City Lord. I've been with him the whole time, but I've never wanted to ambush City Lord. I swear, if I want to ambush..." Cold beams shot out of Suwa Anshan's eyes. "I only trust dead people." Then, the black snake materialized, forming a 10-meter-long black snake. It ate the other truth realization state without hesitation. Sure, Taa didn't move, and neither did Yemo. Suwa Anshan calmed down after killing the two and waved his hand. He held the snake in his hand. Only now did Yemo see clearly that it wasn't some black snake, but a magic artifact. A snake-headed wand. Sure, Taa didn't move, and neither did Yemo. Suwa Anshan calmed down after killing the two and waved his hand. He held the snake in his hand. Only now did Yemo see clearly that it wasn't some black snake, but a magic artifact. A snake-headed wand. This was the first time Yemo saw a magic artifact that could devour people. Suwa Anshan looked coldly at Sure Taa and didn't move nor talk. Yemo was feeling threatened, not by Suwa Anshan, but Sure Taa. This person was too scary. Without hesitation, Huatsong and Wu Tian could find here because Sure Taa told Wu Tian. It wasn't hard to put a traitor next to Suwa Anshan, nor make the traitor willing to die for him. The hardest was that he could predict Suwa Anshan would keep Wu Tian. What calculations and means was this? Yemo's heart was cold. What would happen if he offended Sure Taa? Yemo soon got the answer. He would kill Sure Taa at all costs, or he wouldn't be able to sleep. "You set up the coup in the city?" Suwa Anshan asked calmly.
Yes.
Sure Taa didn't seem satisfied at all. "You know Su Qingfei has been sleeping with me? Did you not have the ability to stop it, or not dare to?" Suwa Anshan asked calmly. Sure Taa shook his head this time. "I won't answer that now. I will have to wait a bit first." Suwa Anshan looked coldly at Sure Taa and said calmly, "You think these arrangements can kill me for sure?" Sure Taa smiled and threw out 2 more formation flags. Suddenly, the surroundings changed and they were completely secluded from the outside. Sure Taa then released a dark gray magic artifact and said with these, "Yes. Level 9 trap formation." Suwa Anshan frowned. Sure Taa added, "You're not completely correct because there's also another level 9 attack formation." Suwa Anshan's face changed. He finally understood why Sure Taa was so certain he would kill him. Yemo noticed the spear in Sure Taa's hand. He had seen this before. Insu used this one. It had the same chi and style. The only difference was the color. One was flaming red and one was dull gray. "Even if you trap me with formation, what can you do to me?" Suwa Anshan said, and his wand turned into a 50-meter-long snake charging toward Sure Taa. At the same time, he waved his hand and a palm-sized mountain appeared above them. Moments later, it turned into a 300-meter-tall mountain. This was the first time Yemo saw someone turn a magic artifact into 300-meter-sized. That snake and mountain wasn't targeting him, but he was finding it difficult to breathe. Almost instantly, Yemo felt the clash between the two's domains. He was like a wavy boat amidst huge waves. When Yemo extended his domain, he knew that Sure Ta didn't lie. He really had the power to fight Suwa Anshan head-on. Sure Ta looked at Yemo in surprise, seeing that Yemo didn't need him to take care of to survive. But then he took his eyes back and threw out a few formation flags. Meanwhile, His long spear pierced over like a comet. A huge explosion sounded that included the subtle whimpering of animals when the two magic artifacts clashed together. Gray cultivation essence and black shadows splashed everywhere. Even though Yimo was disaster state, he felt pain when the cultivation essence splashed on his body. Even so, Yimo didn't completely use his domain to block the splashing cultivation essences. At this moment, Suwa Anshan's mountain smashed down and had sealed the space around Yimo and Taa before it even landed. Yimo couldn't even turn his body, and his domain shattered under such terrifying weight immediately. Yimo sneered, and with the use of his cultivation essence, his domain expanded out again. It seemed a little stronger than before, and Yimo regained freedom. Suwa Anshan didn't say anything. He had seen Yimo's domain and knew he was preserving power. He attacked Taa without hesitation. Of course Yimo was hiding his strength. This Taa was too scary. He would rather fight Suwa Anshan than join up with Taa in this situation. Taa didn't mind. He didn't urge Yimo to attack. Yimo was only truth realization state level 2, and being able to hold on under Suwa Anshan's terrifying domain was quite substantial. Although he had seen Yimo's power, he wouldn't think that Yimo could fight with Suwa Anshan. He even set the time he wanted Yimo to help. He just needed Yimo to help him for half a minute, and he can heavily injure Suwa Anshan. Even if Yimo didn't help, he wasn't afraid of Suwa Anshan. If he used all his means, Eliming fire was a joke to him. Taa raised his two hands and countless vines birthed out of nowhere. They had all sorts of colors and thorns. When they first grew out, they were only the size of a thumb, but by the time the mountain collapsed, these vines were already the size of garbage bins. Seeing this, Yimo took a cold breath in. He was certain he was no match for Suwa Anshan. Even if he reached truth realization state level 4, he would at most be able to escape from Suwa Anshan. Yet, Sure Merchant Association was evenly matched with him, but still forbore to this day before making his move. Yimo knew he didn't have this forbearance of Sure Taa. He even suspected that the reason Sure Taa waited till this day wasn't due to the Li Ming flame but something else. Suwa Anshan dazed and sneered, "Yang Feijing, you're really good at forbearance. You have such means, but you've waited till this day?" Then, Suwa Anshan spat out a blue light. When it iraked to the peak of the mountain, it turned into an acre-sized blue fire cloud. When the fire reached the vines, there was a sizzling sound. There was a putrid smell, and the countless vines melted rapidly. Yimo, hurry up and attack. Sure Taa yelled. He didn't know why Yimo took so long. He thought Yimo would use Heaven Flame as soon as Suwa Anshan used Li Ming Flame. But now, his vines were about to be burned out, and Yimo still didn't use Heaven Flame. Okay. Yimo agreed and released Mist Lotus Heart Fire. It turned into a blue fire cloud and clashed with the Li Ming Flame, releasing a heavenly shattering sound. Suwa Anshan's face changed. When the Mist Lotus Heart Fire really stopped his fire, he was shook. When Yimo ran before, he only used the Mist Lotus Heart Fire to burn a crack in the Li Ming Flame. He thought Yimo's spirit sense wasn't enough to take on Li Ming Flame. The mountain was still falling, but it slowed down, and the vines regrew rapidly. Seeing the power of the Mist Lotus Heart Fire, Sure Taa was shook and annoyed that Yimo reacted so slow. Otherwise, he didn't need to waste so much cultivation essence to grow more vines. Yimo seemed to not know what Sure Taa thought, and barely used Mist Lotus Heart Fire to stop the Li Ming Flame. However, sometimes he ran out of cultivation essence and spirit sense, creating some holes. Then, the Li Ming Flame would soon burn a part of the vines, and Sure Taa would have to keep using his cultivation essence to regrow the vines to stop the huge mountain. Yimo seemed to not know what Sure Taa thought, and barely used Mist Lotus Heart Fire to stop the Li Ming Flame. However, sometimes he ran out of cultivation essence and spirit sense, creating some holes. Then, the Li Ming Flame would soon burn a part of the vines, and Sure Taa would have to keep using his cultivation essence to regrow the vines to stop the huge mountain. Sure Taa was extremely furious. He didn't know if Yimo was doing this intentionally or really running out of cultivation essence. But seeing that Yimo kept eating pills, He believed EMO was really running out of juice. After all, he was only a truth realization state level 2 cultivator. He may be lucky to get the Mist Lotus Heartfire, but his cultivation essence stores were far weaker than a truth realization state peak stage cultivator. Sure, TAA wasn't expecting EMO to be really able to stop the Liming Flame. If EMO could stop it for half a minute, he would be able to heavily injure Sua Anshan. So the instant EMO stopped the Liming Flame, Sure TAA threw out a few more formation falks. Instantly, the gray space lit up, but soon, they knew it wands light but sword rays. Sure TAA activated his level 9 attack formation, ringed Immortal Slaughter formation. If a cultivator was hit by one of the sword rays or sword chi, the rest would follow like crazy. But EMO knew this wasn't the most powerful part to this formation. The most powerful part was that if you didn't understand formation, you would eventually reach the center of the formation while dodging the attacks. There would be countless sword ray and sword chi hidden there. If someone goes in, they would instantly explode. Sua Anshan did know something about formation, and his face sunk seeing the activated sword ray and sword chi at the same time he was trapped by them. The snake head wand suddenly made a terrifying scream like an awakened snake. As the snake opened its mouth, it shot out countless fine lines. They soon weaved together and formed a big net. After some cracking sounds, Sure TAA found that the first wave of sword chi were completely blocked by this huge net. Slice. The net also became broken after stopping the first wave of sword chi, but Sua Anshan immediately spat some essence blood, and the snake spat out more lines in a faster pace. You can cultivate space cracks. Sure TAA's face changed, but before he could react, the huge snake wand grew again into 100 meters long. The tail of the snake started waving. Rumble. The tail flicked away the Gru spear out. At the same time, Sure TAA spat blood in the air. EMO felt that his domain was shattering piece by piece and knew his cultivation essence wouldn't be able to stop this flick of the tail. Before it reached him, he flew up and landed on the side. Because he wasn't attacking with full power, he didn't have any difficulty in leaving. Sure TA's eyes burst red at the same time and threw out tins of formation flags like crazy. EMO didn't go up now. He had never been using his full power. He felt Sure TAA was scarier than Sua Anshan. Sure TAA seemed to have lost his marbles throwing out this many formation flags. How could EMO not know what he was doing? He wanted to self-destruct the ringed Immortal Slaughter formation. If that happened, not only would Sua Anshan be injured, but so would he. Sua Anshan couldn't tell that Sure TAA was going to self-destruct the formation, but he noticed something was wrong. Before he could react, Sure TAA released that gray spear again. It sliced across the air and pierced at Sua Anshan. The gray beam grew faster and faster until it birthed countless spear shadows. Sua Anshan sneered and released his snake wand, but instantly, his face changed. You're going to self-destruct your ruined spirit spear? It's a magic artifact that can grow itself, but you're going to self-destruct it? Although EMO knew Sure TAA wasn't going to do that, but he was shocked by Sua Anshan's words. Magic artifact that can grow itself? Was it something like his Zisu? Sure TAA sneered and didn't answer Sua Anshan. He knew he had tried to overestimate Sua Anshan, but he still ended up underestimating him. But luckily, he was carefully enough and set up 2 formations. Just as EMO thought, he was going to self-destruct the attack formation. He believed that no matter how powerful Sua Anshan was, he wouldn't be able to survive that unscathed. He would be injured too, but Sure TAA believed he would be injured the least. As for EMO, it was just a nice guy who came to deliver him the Mist Lotus Heartfire. He just wanted EMO to be a bait to lure Sua Anshan over. Rumble. The wand and the spear clashed together, splashing cultivation essence everywhere and sending shockwaves in the void space. Sua Anshan noticed that the spear was fine while the space around him was getting volatile. That instant, he realized what was going on. He pointed at Sure TAA and yelled furiously, "You're crazy. You dare to self-destruct formation." Sure TAA spat a few mouthfuls of blood without hesitation. The entire space shook violently. EMO sighed, and almost instantly, he took back Mist Lotus Heartfire and went into the Space Storm Center. Seeing this, Sure TAA sneered. It was useless where you went when his level 9 formation self-destructed. But he had no use for this insect now. With his formation, he would be able to find Emo's storage ring and take the Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Suwa Anshan released 3 extreme-grade cultivation artifact shields. At the same time, his snake wand formed a huge shadow and enveloped him. This wasn't it. He also used Li Ming Fire to form a fire barrier to protect him. Rumble, rumble. This formation was sure TA's after all, so although he was in the center of the explosion, he was in a much better state than Suwa Anshan. Yemo instantly went into the Golden Page world in the center of the storm. The only reason he came here was to hide in the Golden Page world. The surveillance formations Yemo threw out were instantly destroyed. One could see how terrifying this level 9 formation was. A few seconds later, Yemo saw from the formation discs he threw out that the explosion eased up. He then went out of the Golden Page world and went invisible. If possible, he wanted to ambush Sure Taa. He knew Sure Taa wouldn't be killed by his own formation. He wouldn't even be heavily injured. As soon as Yemo came out of the Golden Page world, the terrifying explosive force came. This instantly left countless sword chi marks on him, but they couldn't do much to him. There was only a few wounds. The space storm also became messy due to the explosion of the formation. Suwa Anshan sat up shakily. His snake head wand was broken and the 3 extreme-grade cultivation artifact shields were gone. Yemo knew Suwa Anshan was over. Even though he wasn't dead, it would take him about half a year to recover cultivation essence. Sure Taa wasn't going to give him this opportunity. Sure Taa spat some blood and waved the spear in his hand, saying coldly, "You asked me before why I didn't stop Su Qingfei sleeping with you? Now I can answer. She can sleep with you because I set everything up, but that bitch doesn't even know herself." Hearing this, Yemo was confused. Was the anger and excitement Sure Taa showing before fake? Now, he realized why Sure Taa didn't answer Suwa Anshan's question, because if he did, then he would be suspicious of Sure Taa's emotions before. If he was suspicious of Sure Taa, he wouldn't help him fight Suwa Anshan. Hearing this, Yemo was confused. Was the anger and excitement Sure Taa showing before fake? Now, he realized why Sure Taa didn't answer Suwa Anshan's question, because if he did, then he would be suspicious of Sure Taa's emotions before. If he was suspicious of Sure Taa, he wouldn't help him fight Suwa Anshan. Who is it? Sure Taa suddenly looked at Yemo's direction. Yemo was shook. He just showed a little emotions, and Sure Taa noticed it. Who can it be? It's me, of course, Vice City Lord Sure. Yemo didn't need to hide himself anymore. At the same time, Yemo threw out Shadowless just in case. You're fine? Sure Taa looked at Yemo in shock, stating the obvious. Yemo knew this was because this was too shocking to Sure Taa that he was completely fine. Yemo looked at Sure Taa in surprise. Did Vice City Lord Sure want something to happen to me? Then, Yemo blamed Vice City Lord Sure. You're really not nice. I at least helped you quite a bit, but you didn't even notice me when you let the fireworks out. I was so scared I almost forgot to block my ears. Sure Taa looked at Yemo for a long time with uncertainty, but didn't answer anything. How could he not know that Yemo was being sardonic to him? He wasn't afraid of Yemo, but Suwa Anshan wasn't dead, and if he fought with Yemo even for a few seconds, who knows what would happen? Now, he no longer dared to underestimate Yemo. He was only Truth Realization State Level 2, but he was a Disaster State Body Refinement Master. He could not only escape from Suwa Anshan's trap, but also from his Level 9 formation self-destruction. That was in a rush, and I didn't get to notify Brother Yi. Luckily, Brother Yi is powerful and fine. Sure Taa realized Yemo's threat and immediately said politely, as though it was really all just an accident. Suwa Anshan also looked at Yemo with surprise. He suddenly said, "Yi, if you trust Sure Taa, what happens to me will happen to you. I'm exhausted of cultivation essence now, and all my meridians are broken." That Sure Taa didn't have it easy too. If I were you, I would attack him. Brother Yi, I'm injured, but it's not serious. Brother Yi, don't listen to him. You killed his daughter and son, how can he let that go? Plus, we were in an alliance before. Sure Taa said slowly. Yemo smiled. Of course he knew that Sure Taa really wasn't seriously injured. So before he fought with Sure Taa, he had to get his payment. He then looked at Sua Anshan and nodded. Sua, you're right. I was invited by Sure Taa to fight you, not completely because you were hunting me. Hee hee, I'm not scared of being hunted because I'm used to it. I came to find you because I heard you have a lot of good things in your storage ring. I think if you give your storage ring to me, I won't attack you. What Yemo didn't expect was that as soon as he said this, Sua Anshan took off his storage ring and gave it to Yemo Yi. Although you killed me, son, I trust you more. If a trash can give his own woman to someone else to sleep, that trash does not deserve to talk to me, nor does he deserve to own my things. Even if you kill me, I will let Sure Ta this bastard die before me. Yemo took it and laughed. Su, you've been talking bullshit the entire time, but you've finally said something noteworthy. You're right. If a trash can give his own woman to someone else, then working with that trash is asking for trouble. Then, Yemo released Octagonal Cauldron and Zisu. Sure Taa said calmly to Yemo, brother Yi, we agreed that we would have half each. How come I don't see you taking out that other half? Do you want to have it all to yourself? Or do you think just because I'm injured you can do whatever you want? Yemo looked at Sure Taa speechlessly. This guy also had such a thick face. Yemo sighed after a long while. Sigh, Vice City Lord Sure, although I don't want to admit it, but I must say you guessed it. I like to abuse the injured and weak. I saw that you're injured, so I want to have it all to myself. Before Yemo finished, he expanded out his domain and Zisu brought out a purple sword race. Illusion Cloud Formation Kill Strike. Sure Taa had seen Yemo in action before, and he knew that this strike was completely different to the domain-shattering strike he saw before. The previous strike was the combination of Cultivation Essence and Spirit Sense, but this strike seemed to be alive. He had never seen someone who can control every sword ray he released and use it to form a formation to trap the opponent. Sure Taa regained his composure moments later. He didn't even need to wave his hand and countless vines birthed out of the void. They looked very disgusting. But these vines also seemed to have their own will, just like Yemo's sword rays. It formed a huge net shape enclosing all of Yemo's purple sword rays. Sure Taa thought that even though he was heavily injured, his vines would be able to deplete Yemo's purple sword rays quickly and then trap him. But when the two clashed together, he immediately knew he was wrong. Crack! Sure Taa found that if he didn't keep inserting Cultivation Essence and Spirit Sense into the vines, they would be no match for Yemo's purple sword rays. Dining that Yemo didn't even use his Heaven Flame yet. Sure Taa felt things weren't good. He began to sweat cold. Yemo's Cultivation Essence and Spirit Sense were far beyond his expectations. He did have other trump cards, but it wasn't time to use it yet. Another wave of cracks sounded and Sure Taa's face finally changed. He realized that his domain couldn't match with Yemo's domain. This meant that Yemo was only Truth Realization State Level 2, but his domain was more powerful and perfect than his. Although this was due to him being injured, but he really didn't want to believe that. You hid your power before? You intentionally let Sua Anshan's flame burn my vines, and then use your Heaven Flame, right? Then you intentionally left holes in your flames too? Sure Taa couldn't resist reproaching. Yemo looked at Sure Taa in shock. I heard Vice City Lord Sure say you didn't fear Sua Anshan, so I didn't dare to use full power. Aren't powerful people usually very prideful? If I used my full power, and then that wouldn't showcase Vice City Lord Sure's power, that would be a great offense. I didn't expect Vice City Lord Sure was smart enough to see it. Great, great. Sure Taa calmed down again. A mere Truth Realization State Level 2 dare to trick me? Then, he waved his hand and the Ruined Spirit Spear immediately brought about endless void killing intent piercing over. Halfway, it separated into 9 black spears. They were like a huge 9-fingered claw looming over Yemo. The purple sword rays also sizzled and disappeared in the wake of the 9 spears. Hearing this, Yemo's heart sunk. He knew his domain had shattered. Before he could react, the 9 spears were in front of him. There was a putrid smell. Yemo knew these 9 shadows were no ordinary things. Before he could think, he inserted all of his cultivation essence into the octagonal cauldron, and the octagonal cauldron spun rapidly. Thud. There was a huge clash, and Yemo felt his meridians going chaotic. He spat blood out as he was sent flying with his octagonal cauldron. He didn't even have time to use his heaven flame. Seeing the power of Yemo's Zisu, Suo Anshan was also shook himself. He didn't expect a truth realization state level 2 would have such powerful sword technique. But he only wanted Yemo to be stronger and stronger. Even if Yemo kills him in the end, as long as he can see sure Taa die first, he would be satisfied. Plus, he had Void Life Force Marrow. As long as Yemo and sure Taa can fight for a while, he would be able to recover 80%. Seeing the power of Yemo's Zisu, Suo Anshan was also shook himself. He didn't expect a truth realization state level 2 would have such powerful sword technique. But he only wanted Yemo to be stronger and stronger. Even if Yemo kills him in the end, as long as he can see sure Taa die first, he would be satisfied. Plus, he had Void Life Force Marrow. As long as Yemo and sure Taa can fight for a while, he would be able to recover 80%. The reason he gave his storage ring to Yemo without hesitation was because he didn't want Yemo to remember he still had Voice Life Force Marrow. No one knew that the instant the explosion occurred, he took out the Void Life Force Marrow from the storage ring. But sure Taa's power was far beyond his expectation. He was injured in the explosion of the level 9 formation, but he was still able to send Yemo flying in one move. There was disappointment in his eyes. His hatred towards sure Taa was inexplicable. This person knew Princess Chuan was his daughter, but still let her sleep with his son. Comparatively, Yemo only killed his son, and therefore the hatred wasn't that big. Unfortunately, Yemo had some power, but he was still far too weak. Sure Taa wasn't going to let him go. Thinking about this, sure Taa indeed charged at Yemo again. His hands sprayed out countless seeds. These seeds instantly budded in the air, and countless buds sprouted. They turned into countless vines. If these vines joined together, Yemo wouldn't have the opportunity to attack again. Sure Taa would only need to watch Yemo being killed by these vines, or keep spraying out seeds when the vines were being burned by the heaven flame. Seeing this, Yemo was furious. This sure Taa didn't take him seriously at all. Brother, why do this? We agreed to cooperate, but you want to rob my things, Sai? Sure Taa said calmly while forming the 9 spear shadows again. Seeing this, Yemo sneered and hacked Zisu at the ruined spirit spear while releasing Mist Lotus Heart Fire. Seeing this, sure Taa sneered. Suo Anshan's heaven flame was ranked lower than Yemo's, but the difference wasn't huge. And Suo Anshan was truth realization state peak stage. If he wasn't afraid of Suo Anshan's heaven flame, why would he be afraid of Yemo's heaven flame? Even if heaven flame can really counter his vines, he still had other means to easily kill Yemo. What shook sure Taa was that Yemo didn't form a fire cloud with the heaven flame. Instead, the heaven flame formed into a huge blue sun that hung mid-air. The sun emitted countless blue rays that instantly covered this entire space. Moments later, this area turned into a blue world. If they didn't see Yemo release this sun, they would have thought they went back to solid land, back to the cultivation realm. Seeing this, Suo Anshan's eyes narrowed. He was already the peak of the cultivation realm. How could he not know that this was Yemo's heaven flame cultivation method? This was a true method of using heaven flame. He had been searching for countless years and couldn't find a heaven flame cultivation method. Yet today, he saw this on a young truth realization state cultivator. This made Suo Anshan sigh. Just how many good thines did this cultivator have? The terrifying blue rays didn't give him time to think anymore. He barely released his Li Ming flame, forming a heaven flame barrier to block the blue rays. But sure Taa didn't have it so easy now. Yemo didn't even need to use the fire cloud to burn his vines. Just releasing this sun put him at the complete lower hand of the battle. Sizzle! The putrid stench grew, and the endless vines were all turned to dust under the heaven flame 9 suns. Sure Taa was shook. He didn't expect the pawn he found to be able to use the heaven flame better than the original opponent. Rumble. Zisu and Ruined Spirit Spear clashed together. The 9 spear shadows were scattered. Yemo flew back more than 10 meters back into the storm center before. Yemo knew there was still a huge difference between him and Shur-Taa in terms of cultivation essence and spirit sense. Both of their powers were beyond truth realization state peak stage. One could call them a fake immortal. Shur-Taa wasn't happy at all striking Yemo away. He knew that he was stronger than Yemo in cultivation essence, but because of his injuries and overexertion of cultivation essence, he might not be able to finish Yemo off quickly. He really didn't understand why Yemo was fine when he self-destructed his level 9 formation. Shur-Taa didn't understand, but he didn't have time to think about that. He looked coldly at Yemo and said, "You forced me. I will let you know true despair." He waved his hand again and countless shadows appeared in the air. Then, he spat many mouthfuls of essence blood into it. Then, the shadows started to move. When Yemo saw them, he was shook. Corpse puppets, truth realization state corpse puppets. Corpse puppet was an extremely cruel cultivation method. The practitioner would capture other cultivators alive and bind their essence spirit. Then he would sink the cultivator into a special fluid for 100 years. But the cultivator wouldn't die and his body would become extremely tough. At this time, the cultivator would pull the puppet out and burn him with his own cultivation essence fire for 100 years. During this time, the puppet would be conscious. He would have to endure inhumane torture and endless horror. 200 years later, their conscience would be devoured by the puppet master, but their essence spirit would be kept. At this moment, they would just be a puppet, but they would be stronger than they were alive. Their levels are based on their cultivation level when they were alive. These corpse puppets were clearly made with truth realization state cultivators. Seeing this, Sua Anshan pointed at Shur-Taa in shock. "You. So all those missing cultivators were turned into corpse puppets by you? You. Shur-Taa's face was pale too, and he looked coldly at Sua Anshan. "You will be my 931 truth realization state corpse puppet." Then he looked coldly at Yemo, forcing me to use this. "You will be my weakest corpse puppet." Yemo had annihilated all the vines and didn't want to waste his spirit sense, so he took away the mist lotus heart fire and ate a few spirit recovery pills. Then he looked at Shur-Taa and said coldly, "Sure, you have such power, but you waited till today to attack and asked me to help. I don't think you're afraid of the Liming fire. And your acting skills are quite good. I almost thought it was real." Shur-Taa ate a few pills and looked snarly at Yemo. "I wasn't acting. I'm really furious. I did give her away, but am I not allowed to be angry?" He then said coldly, "Do you know why I haven't turned Dai Shuiming into a corpse puppet yet? Because she's the only woman I've ever loved. Before I turn her into a corpse puppet, I will satisfy her wish. I know Shui Qingfei doesn't really like Sua Anshan, but I know she really did fall in love with Dai Shuiming. I will turn her into a corpse puppet with Dai Shuiming. Pity, it's too early to show my corpse puppets today." Shur-Taa calmed down. "Psychopath," Yemo sneered. Both of them were recovering their spirit sense and cultivation essence. "I know why you waited till now to attack. You didn't wait for you to stop my Liming fire. Even if he didn't appear, you were planning to attack in these 2 months because you're waiting for." Shur-Taa suddenly roared, "Shut up." Then, Shur-Taa waved his ruined spirit spear, and those few hundred corpse puppets rushed at Yemo. Yemo wasn't even shook. A few formation flags suddenly appeared in his hands, and he threw them out. Yemo wasn't even shook. A few formation flags suddenly appeared in his hands, and he threw them out. Shur-Taa saw this and sneered. "No wonder you were being so sneaky here before. You were setting up a formation. But you're quite capable to hide it from me, but even if you set up." As Yemo threw out the last formation flag, Shur-Taa was dazed. There was extreme shock in his face. He didn't even believe what he saw. How could this mere truth realization state level 2 cultivator hide a level 9 formation that even he didn't see? Shur-Taa realized that not only did he not recognize this formation, he didn't even know when it was activated. "You're a level 9 formation Grandmaster too." Shur-Taa stared at Yemo in shock. He was certain that Yemo was not only a level 9 formation Grandmaster, but one that was better than him. When he was setting up his formation, EMO was trapped inside but was very calm. Clearly, he wasn't scared of his formation. Even when he self-destructed his formation, EMO wasn't hurt at all. Yet, he didn't even see EMO's formation, nor when it was activated. Sure, TAA screamed and threw out a few more formation flags. Those disorganized corpse puppets became orderly and formed a strange formation. Some corpse puppets released their magic artifacts and charged at EMO. EMO's face changed. With this many truth realization state cultivators charging at him, he would be killed for sure. He activated the formation without hesitation. The instant he did, EMO was ready to self-destruct his formation at any time. EMO really couldn't think of another way to stop all these truth realization state corpse puppets other than detonating his formation. Countless illusion cloud sword ray and sword chi filled the space. The most powerful thing about this formation was that there were countless sword ray and sword chi that was hidden from both the eyes and the spirit sense. If one was hit by one sword ray, their momentum would be stopped, and this momentary stop was enough for countless sword rays to swoop over. How do you dodge something you can't see with your spirit sense nor eyes? EMO was enlightened of this attack from Ziyuan's invisible sword chi. This was also because EMO cultivated the three-birth chant. Anything he saw he could make into his own if he wanted to. Sure, TAA mobilized 100 corpse puppets to protect him without hesitation. They all released defense magic artifact, making the place he was at impenetrable. But EMO was shook to find that of those few hundred puppets, they didn't all use magic artifact. Most of them just charged at him dazedly. EMO looked back at Sure TAA and immediately knew what was going on. His face was pale, and he kept eating pills. Clearly, he didn't control all of the puppets, so his spirit sense and control over the puppets weren't perfect. Realizing this, EMO felt assured. If he didn't have formation or other means, he really wouldn't be able to escape if he was trapped by these puppets. But he was in his formation, and Sure TAA used most of his spirit sense to control 100 puppets to protect himself. The rest weren't a threat to him. No wonder Sure TAA didn't use these puppets to attack Sua Anshan. If he did, then he would be heavily injured in both spirit sense and cultivation essence, even if he killed Sua Anshan. Spirit sense injuries were much harder to treat than meridian or bodily injuries. Sure TAA was exerting quite some spirit sense controlling these puppets. If he lost control, these puppets might come back to bite him instead. But soon, EMO found that although these puppets didn't even use 1% of their power, they weren't afraid of his sword ray. Whenever the sword ray struck them, it would only make a metal striking sound. EMO also found that if he was trapped by these puppets, then their aggressive instincts would be activated and they would kill him without Sure TAA's command. Regardless, EMO knew he must not be trapped by them. They were fast, but this formation was EMO's so instantly, EMO left their surrounding. He raised his hands and tins of lightning swords shot out. Rumble. These lightning swords were as powerful as truth realization state divine damnation. But EMO found that only one of the 10 puppets he struck was turned to dust. The rest only lost an arm or leg. Some were completely fine. This meant that he would need to use hundreds, or even 1,000 lightning sword to kill all these puppets. EMO took a cold breath in. He would be over himself before he killed all those puppets. EMO threw tins of lightning swords at Sure TAA, but before they reached him, they were blocked by the nearly 100 puppets raising shields. Thud. EMO was speechless. Luckily, Sure TAA couldn't completely control them, or he wouldn't be able to stop them for a bit. He couldn't think of any other way of escaping other than self-destructing the formation. EMO was unhappy, but he didn't know that Sure TAA was so shocked he was speechless. EMO's performance before was magnificent, but now, releasing such terrifying lightning sword, this completely dumbfounded him. If he wasn't scared of EMO detonating the formation like he did, and protected himself with 100 puppets, he would have been injured by the lightning swords already. At this moment, Sure TAA truly began to fear. He had used all his means. If this maniac truth realization state level 2 cultivator still had other means, he might really not be able to survive today. Even if EMO didn't have much means left, he wouldn't be able to last very long. It was exerting his cultivation essence and spirit sense trying to control these puppets. Emo was planning to get Shadowless to help when there was a stalemate, but now that Shadowless saw Emo had the complete upper hand, he charged out at a puppet instead. Moments alter, Shadowless flew out and charged to another. Just when Emo didn't know what was going on, those puppets that Shadowless flew into fell to the ground. Without a doubt, Shadowless devoured the essence spirit of those puppets. Seeing them fall, Emo realized. These puppets were powerful, but their weakness was also obvious. If there was a way to devour those essence spirit without consciousness, these puppets would turn into rocks. But just as this moment, Emo suddenly felt cold. There was this unforeseen killing intent surge into his consciousness. Suwa Anshan. Emo thought of this name instantly and went into his golden page world. Suwa Anshan. Emo thought of this name instantly and went into his golden page world. Exposing the golden page world to save his life was worth it. Rumble. A terrifying explosion sounded. 100-meter-tall explosion waves rose at where Emo was. Nothing existed in that place anymore. The space windblades and space fine sands weren't blown away by this explosion. They were all bound in a domain. A black snake head swept past, and they were all devoured by the snake. If Emo didn't go into the golden page world and wanted to dash out, he would also be devoured by the black snake head. From the formation disc Emo threw out, he could only see the explosion wave and that huge snake head. The instant he came out of the golden page world, Zissou brought a purple ray towards at the snake head. Whimper. The snake head didn't expect there would be someone alive in the space where the burst truth bead exploded. This strike hacked right into its head, splashing black blood everywhere. Suwa Anshan in the distance spat blood again, and at a piece of green without hesitation. Then he looked at Emo in shock. How did you dodge the burst truth pill? How did you know? How did you disappear? The burst truth bead, plus the explosion of space, was much more powerful than ordinary burst truth pills. Emo looked coldly at him. Suwa, I forgot you had void life force marrow. No wonder you found your life back so quickly. Didn't you say you hate Vice City Lord Sure the most? Why did you ambush me immediately? Are you farting with your mouth? Suwa Anshan's face was green. If people dared to say this to him usually, he would have cut that person into pieces. Soon, Emo knew why Suwa Anshan was attacking him. Sure Taa could protect himself now in his formation. He kept throwing out formation flags, clearly wanting to set up a defense formation in his Space 9 illusion attack formation. But Sure Taa didn't know his formation at all. Even if Sure Taa could set up a defense formation, it wouldn't be able to be accomplished quickly. Shadowless was flying wobbly. There were a few hundred truth realization state corpse puppets on the ground. Emo knew Shadowless was at its limit. He took Shadowless back. There were still a lot of puppets left, but Sure Taa couldn't even protect himself now. He just needed to keep using Lightning Sword at Sure Taa. Sure Taa realized this too, and his face was scarily pale. He kept eating pills, wanting to control the corpse puppets. Suwa Anshan sneered and didn't say anything. He waved, and that huge mountain appeared in his hands again. Clearly to him, killing Emo was the most important. He didn't dare to attack Emo first, as he knew Emo wasn't easy to mess with. He had great worry towards Emo. If Emo would let him leave now, he would leave without hesitation. The octagonal cauldron spun above Emo's head. Suwa Anshan had recovered his cultivation essence, around 80%. Just when Emo was about to fight Suwa Anshan's face changed, and he had the look of surprise and joy. He saw the void open up again. There was suddenly the view of the sky. It was getting closer to them, but narrower near them and wider near the Black Rock City. It's as though someone tore apart the void near Black Rock City. With this, it meant that they could leave here. Emo rejoiced and charged over without hesitation. However, he was stopped by a powerful force. Meanwhile, Suwa Anshan charged out without any trouble. Before Emo could react, Sure Taa also looked surprised and joyful. He charged out of the void like Suwa Anshan, disappearing into the sky. Emo's level 9 attack formation couldn't stop them at all. Immortal Ascension. Emo immediately realized, and his face looked bad. At this crucial moment, the immortal ascension tunnel opened again. What was the reason? If it wasn't for this, Suwa Anshan and Shur Taa would eventually become his loot. Yemo was very unsatisfied. He couldn't leave through that immortal ascension tunnel. Only truth realization state, peak stage, could leave through there. Shur Taa left in such a hurry that he didn't even take a single corpse puppet. Now, they were all running around frantically like flies. Seeing that his formation wasn't able to do anything to these puppets, he just took it away, and without the formation binding, they all dashed out into the endless void. He didn't know puppet control and didn't want to take these puppets that were so cruelly created. Just when Yemo wanted to contact Daishueming, he charged over and quickly threw out a jade slip at Yemo. The reason isn't here. I'm going to Immortal Ascension. Brother, we'll meet again in the Immortal Realm. Then, Daishueming instantly disappeared in the cracked open void. Yemo quickly took the jade slip and felt at loss. His friend left, and so did his enemies. He was the only one left in this void. Scanning his spirit sense in, there was Daishueming's desperate voice. My friend told me that there was internal conflict at Black Rock City. Black Hades isn't in the city, and his city lord estate was completely smashed. They found a huge seal there, and some extremely precious spirit item was sealed there. When someone broke the seal, they found that the Immortal Ascension tunnel was opened. There was also another map behind the words. Yemo could tell it was the tunnel Daishueming told him about. Yemo fell silent and decided to go see Black Rock City. If all the truth realization state, peak stage cultivators ascended, then there was no threat for him at the city. Thinking about this, Yemo dashed quickly towards the city. Halfway, he heard the rumbling sound in the sky. The Immortal Ascension tunnel was slowly closing up. Yemo felt strange, but he still dashed towards the city. He was disaster state body refinement now, and he flew at full power. In just 10 days, he arrived at Black Rock City. When he came back here again, he could only feel everything was dead. Yemo scanned with spirit sense. There were bodies everywhere. Clearly, there was a huge battle not long ago. Seeing that so many truth realization state cultivators were so close to immortal ascension but died in this battle, Yemo sighed. Suwa Anshan couldn't react at the time, but he would definitely be able to realize that he had a small world. If he saw Suwa Anshan in the immortal realm, he would need to kill him. Yemo walked on the streets alone. All the shops were in shambles. Those dead cultivators' items were also looted. Yemo didn't search street by street. All the good things wouldn't be on display outside. It would be kept in storage rings. So the first place he went to was the city lord estate. He wanted to see what spirit item was sealed there. The walls of the city lord were fallen. There was only a wooden path towards the backyard that was rather complete. The walls of the city lord were fallen. There was only a wooden path towards the backyard that was rather complete. Yemo just walked tens of meters on the pathway and was stopped by the fallen wall of a round hall. Only the spirit sense shielding FM was barely there. There were ruins everywhere. More than 10 truth realization state died here, and the ground was covered in blood marks. The first thing Yemo saw in the center of the all was a round crystal ball. He noticed it not because it was pretty, but because there was a green plant inside. Bitter bamboo, Yemo blurted out. His voice echoed in the halls. How is this possible? Yemo was shook. He didn't know why there was a bitter bamboo here. This was something that even the immortals standing at the pinnacle of the immortal realm would want. How can it be in the Black Rock City? This was impossible. Yemo knew clearly that bitter bamboo was one of the 10 great spirit plants in the world. No matter how many realms there would only be one of it. There was one bitter bamboo in his golden page world, so there definitely wouldn't be one here. Yemo was certain this was impossible. But the reality was that there was another bitter bamboo in front of him. He didn't see wrong. Why is it so? Yemo murmured, giving himself a few spirit cleansing spells to force himself to calm down. After a long while, Yemo calmed down completely and forcefully moved his eyes away from bitter bamboo before studying the surrounding situation. There were 49 frog-like things around the crystal ball. They had mouths bigger than their body, and their mouths faced all directions of the city. Inside their mouths was a rather spacious spat with a seating. Emo looked around and was shook. He realized this was a 49 life locking formation. There was only one use of this formation, and it was devour life force to nourish a spirit item. Clearly, this formation was devouring the life force of the entire city's cultivator to nourish this bitter bamboo. Emo was thinking, there was no earth nor sunlight. The only thing the bitter bamboo could depend on was spirit chi and life force. A mature bitter bamboo didn't need this, but this bitter bamboo was clearly not matured yet. So, it needed life force to nourish. However, Emo felt things weren't right. This bitter bamboo gave him a strange feeling. 49 Ife locking formation devoured life force, but someone was needed to refine the life force and provide it to the bitter bamboo. These seats were for the cultivator refining the life force. However, there's a special feature of the 49 life locking formation. The cultivator refining the life force also need to supply his own life force and essence blood. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. If this seating was Suwa Anshan's, it meant that he would also need to supply his own essence blood and life force. But this was also beneficial, as if the bitter bamboo was fully mature, he would be able to quickly spirit control the bitter bamboo and get nourished by it. Emo frowned and looked at this bitter bamboo. He wasn't sure if the 10 great spirit plants need to be spirit controlled, as his bitter bamboo recognized him as the master automatically. Emo took out Thing again and flipped to bitter bamboo. It said clearly there was only one of each top 10 spirit plants. This means that since he got the bitter bamboo, there wouldn't be any more in the world. Why was there another strange feeling bitter bamboo here? Emo carefully walked to the seating and picked it up. He saw words below it, bitter bamboo, one of the 10 great spirit plants in the world. It can be nourished by the 49 life locking formation. Once the number of leaves becomes 9 times 9, the spirit plant would serve the nourisher as its master. 9 times 9, that was 81 leaves. Emo counted. There were already 80 leaves on the bitter bamboo. Emo finally understood why Suwa Anshan said that sure Taa would be attacking him within the 2 months regardless. It was for the bitter bamboo. Sure Taa knew Suwa Anshan was nourishing the bitter bamboo with life force and essence blood. He left Suwa Anshan do the hard work for him, and when the bitter bamboo was about to mature, sure Taa would kill Suwa Anshan and take it for himself. Instantly, Emo also understood why sure Taa gave his woman to Suwa Anshan. Su Qingfei was his woman. They must have dual cultivated together. Xu Qingfei had sure Taa's qi and essence blood. When Su Qingfei dual cultivated with Suwa Anshan, this qi was transferred to Suwa Anshan. Thus, the bitter bamboo would also have sure Taa's qi this way. Once sure Taa annihilated Suwa Anshan, the bitter bamboo would still recognize him as master. Realizing this, Emo suddenly wanted to vomit. This sure Taa was too disgusting. Su Qingfei clearly liked a heroic warrior, so sure Taa intentionally wore flowery robes to make himself seem feminine. Then, with sure Taa's secret planning, it was not hard for Su Qingfei to get together with the heroic warrior-looking Suwa Anshan. Although Di Shuiming was black and skinny, he also seemed like a heroic warrior. No wonder Su Qingfei liked him. Just as sure Taa said, she didn't truly like Suwa Anshan but Di Shuiming. She only got with Suwa Anshan because she was disgusted of that feminine sure Taa. Looking at this bitter bamboo, Emo suddenly felt very disgusted. Although he didn't like it, he didn't destroy it. It was a priceless treasure of the world. But Emo knew that the 49 life locking formation definitely wasn't something Suwa Anshan could set up. Since someone else set it up, why was Suwa Anshan refining it? Did Suwa Anshan not know that the 10 great spirit plants couldn't be spirit controlled? They could only willingly serve you as master. Emo didn't think much. He scanned his spirit sense along the wall and dazed. Instantly, he came to a broken wall. There were a few huge claw marks. They were very fresh and Emo recognized them. This was God Beast Kuin's claw mark. Perhaps during the riot, Kuin also joined, but something happened, and the fight reached the City Lord estate. Did all those truth realization state think of the crystal ball as the seal, and when Kuin came, they joined up against Kuin? After all, anything on it was a treasure. There was a huge battle and countless truth realization state cultivators died. As for the immortal ascension tunnel, perhaps Kuan tore it open in fury. If Kuan tore open the space, then things would be easy to explain. Due to the tear in space, these cultivators all sensed the immortal ascension calling. They all chose to immortal ascension without hesitation. Old Black was quite a good friend to leave a message first. Just how much will was needed to do that when being trapped here from immortal ascension for a few hundred to thousand years? Emo sighed. Old Black flew into the immortal realm. Although he was truth realization state level 2, he was still far from immortal ascension. Without adequate resources, he could be trapped in the same state for a few hundred years. Emo sighed. Old Black flew into the immortal realm. Although he was truth realization state level 2, he was still far from immortal ascension. Without adequate resources, he could be trapped in the same state for a few hundred years. But this bitter bamboo, Emo looked over. If it was some spirit plant fed with life force, it wouldn't be far from withering without the life force supply. Wait, Emo was shook. He thought of Kuan. These god beasts were the most sensitive to these spirit plants. If it really was bitter bamboo, why didn't it take it away? This was impossible. Emo thought of those few fake items that Shui Yufeng made in the all-herb mountain ranges. Was this bitter bamboo fake too? How could the 10 great spirit plants could life force to survive? Doing this was something against nature. How could it happen on the 10 great spirit items? Realizing this, Emo immediately knew that this bitter bamboo was quite possibly fake. He stood outside the crystal ball and studied this bitter bamboo carefully. After careful perusal, Emo found that this bitter bamboo was similar to his bitter bamboo, but it gave off completely different feels. The bitter bamboo leaves gave people a very comfortable look. Even if you didn't grab it in your hands, it had this serene feeling. Meanwhile, this bitter bamboo leaves only had a messy life force chi. Emo frowned. If this wasn't bitter bamboo, what was it? Emo suddenly thought of a possibility. Could it essence blood that the truth realization state cultivators who came to Black Rock City were specifically arranged to do so and supply life force for this fake bitter bamboo? If this was true, then this person would be too scary. Emo looked at this bitter bamboo. He couldn't guess what it was, but that uncomfortable feeling was still there. No matter what, he would destroy it first. Thinking about this, Emo released formation flags without hesitation. He still had the formation flags for his Space 9 illusion attack formation. It would take him long to set them up into the right place. After that, he added a simple trap formation outside. He was scared there was something in here. Then, Emo released the Mist Lotus Heart Fire and was about to destroy the bitter bamboo, but suddenly, he heard a bleak-voiced rat, "You're so evil. I thought you were setting up the formation to take the bitter bamboo, but you're going to use a blue heaven flame to burn my ghoul's essence spirit." Who is it? Emo was shook. He then immediately realized that the voice came from inside the crystal ball. Then, the bitter bamboo inside the ball disappeared, and the crystal ball cracked. A dark, bleak figure appeared before Emo. It didn't look like the bitter bamboo at all. Emo immediately released his octagonal cauldron and looked vigilantly at this bleak shadow. "Are you a ghoul kept here by someone?" The dark shadow said hatefully, "That's right. I'm a ghoul, but I'm not kept by someone. When I was about to succeed, that bastard broke into the space here, making the entire city's cultivators immortal ascension. Now I don't have life force to feed me. I wanted to devour you, but I didn't expect a mere truth realization state level 2 cultivator can recognize that I'm not bitter bamboo." Emo was shook. If it wasn't that the real bitter bamboo was in his hands, he would definitely think this is a bitter bamboo. If he did and tried to take it, wouldn't he fall into the hands of this ghoul? Ghouls were the clones of powerful cultivators. Emo had never heard of anyone in the cultivation realm being able to separate out a ghoul clone. This ghoul said he wasn't kept by someone, meaning that he was either born naturally or he had already killed his main body and had his own will. No matter what, he didn't want to mess with it. "But even so, do you think you can escape from me?" the ghoul said and turned into a huge shadow sweeping at Emo. Before it landed on Emo, Emo felt he couldn't move at all. He was shook. This ghoul was so powerful. He was much more powerful than Sui Anshan. This domain wasn't something he could fend off against. He definitely was no match for his ghoul. Yemo burst his cultivation essence like crazy, and just when Ghoul was about to reach him, he broke free. At the same time, he threw out many formation flags and yelled explode. At the same time, Yemo went into the Golden Page World and controlled the Golden Page World to flew to the life gate of the formation. Lee then left the Golden Page World immediately fearing that it would be exposed. As the huge explosion sounded, it was more devastating than Sure TA's formation's detonation. Even though this formation was Yemo's and he knew where the life gate was, the terrifying power ripped apart all of the armor on his body. His flesh was already messy. Yemo knew that if he didn't reach disaster state body refinement, he wouldn't be able to live at all. Arg! A sharp shriek sounded, and Yemo immediately knew it was the ghoul. His level 9 formation detonation didn't even kill this ghoul. His life force was too powerful. Yemo didn't dare to stay here at all. He charged out without hesitation. He didn't even dare to look back. Leaving the Black Rock City, he didn't even dare to look back and charged into the Void Fissure. He brought his speed to maximum. He had only heard of ghouls' terrifying power. Its attacks were invisible, and it's all too easy for them to possess someone. Usually after possession, they would devour the essence, blood, and life force of that cultivator and then move on to a new one. Today, he saw a ghoul that was fed by countless life force. If he didn't detonate his level 9 formation, he would be in the hands of that ghoul. The ghoul's domain was beyond that of Truth Realization State Cultivator. Luckily, Yemo had been running for his life in the Void Fissure quite often, and he knew where to go to hide his chi. 5 days later, that faint sense of danger was gone. Only then did Yemo breathe easy. He knew that only now did he finally escape the threat of the ghoul. He didn't get anything going to the Black Rock City, but instead messed with a ghoul. Yemo took out the map Old Black gave him and immediately changed a direction. No matter what, he didn't want to stay in this Void Fissure anymore. He reached disaster state here and got Suwa Anshan's storage ring. What else would he be staying here for? Yemo even suspected that now there was only him and the ghoul living. That godbeast Kuan was probably gone. After running for 6 days, even his body was covered in wounds. On the 7th day, he stopped looking dazedly at a dark red void. He couldn't believe that this was the only tunnel. Old Black told him in the Jade Slip that the tunnel to leaving the void was here. This dark red was the heart of the Void Flame. Void Flame is a type of flame marrow in the void. It has no value and can't be spirit controlled, but its temperature could melt anything. How can he leave? He was still a few kilometers from the Void Flame, but that heat was already unbearable. If he charged in, how could he live? Yemo carefully reached his spirit sense out, but before it even neared it, the space flame blades severed his spirit sense, and the spirit sense disappeared. This flame could even melt spirit sense. Rumble. There was suddenly a huge explosion, and a void flame whirlpool, mixed with countless space flame blades, spun. Just when Yemo didn't know what to do, that ghoul appeared in his spirit sense again. In just a moment, that ghoul would reach him. Yemo didn't dare to hesitate at all. He threw down a few formation flags and charged into that dark red void flame. Before he even got in, the armor and clothes on him completely vaporized. In just a moment, that ghoul would reach him. Yemo didn't dare to hesitate at all. He threw down a few formation flags and charged into that dark red void flame. Before he even got in, the armor and clothes on him completely vaporized. Yemo didn't dare to use Octagonal Cauldron. He immediately went into the Golden Page World. He just hoped that the Golden Page World would be fine in the Void Flame. Inside the Golden Page World, Yemo found that even his skin turned hot red. This Void Flame was so powerful, Yemo took a cold breath in. Such terrifying heat, even if one reached God's state, it would be hard for the body to not break down. Yemo ate a few pills and started carefully watching the Golden Page World. After a while, he noticed it was fine, so he breathed easy. His Golden Page World was a primordial artifact birthed along with the universe. If it was so easily burned by the Void Flame, it wouldn't be deserving of such name. Then, Yemo started watching that ghoul. Its color turned dimmer after the formation exploded, but it was still extremely fast. That ghoul spun outside the void flame a few times. Such terrifying speed. It spun around a few times and didn't seem to want to give up like this. It tried going into the void flame. Yemo was scared. The ghoul wouldn't be this powerful, right? But soon, Yemo realized his worry was extraneous. He couldn't hear sound outside, but that ghoul probably made a painful scream. Green mist popped out of the ghoul's shadow. Yemo rejoiced. It would be best to burn this guy to death. The ghoul immediately retreated to a safe area, but didn't want to leave like this. It still circulated the void flame. Knowing that the ghoul didn't dare to go in here, Yemo couldn't be bothered watching him. He threw out a few formation discs. It would disappear immediately, but it still allowed him to see the situation. He seemed to be inside a whirlpool tunnel of the void flame. There were countless void flame blades spinning, and the golden page world kept falling in this whirlpool endlessly. Was this the only tunnel out? Yemo began to suspect Old Black's words. First of all, coming to this place wasn't 99.9% chance of dying, it was certain death. Yemo sighed. It seemed he could only rely on himself. Suddenly, Yemo thought, if Suwa Anshan came here and had used HF to set up a barrier, would that be able to stop the void flame? Thinking about this, Yemo even wanted to go out and test with his Mist Lotus Heartfire, but what happened to the formation disc made Yemo give up the thought. The void flame was too terrifying. If he didn't even have enough time to go into the golden page world, he would be dead for sure. Yemo cleansed himself and changed into a new set of clothes before picking up Suwa Anshan's storage ring. His greatest accomplishment in the void was reaching disaster state and body refinement. The second was getting Suwa Anshan's storage ring. He had great hopes for this. The restriction was very complicated on the storage ring, but for Yemo, it was only a matter of time. Yemo carefully removed the restriction and scanned his spirit sense inside Suwa Anshan's storage ring. He was immediately dazed. It wasn't because Suwa Anshan's storage ring was much larger than Fang Yizong's, but because there were more than 100 extreme-grade spirit ranges stacked together like a white dragon. All sorts of rare ores were stacked in mountains. What shook Yemo the most was that in one corner of the storage ring, there was a stone stool. Yemo immediately took it and saw there was the character Fire on it. Seeing this, Yemo was overjoyed. This was one of the 5 element stools he needed. Now, his golden page world only needed one more stone stool. Clearly, Fang Yizong and Suwa Anshan both knew that this stone stool was a rare treasure but didn't know what it was exactly. Perhaps putting these stone stools in other small worlds could also birth the 5 elements? Thinking about this, Yemo was worried. If that was the case, how could he search for the remaining stone stool? If some cultivator takes it, can he search storage ring by storage ring? Just how many truth realization state cultivators' storage ring did Suwa Anshan search to find this? Wait, Suwa Anshan has another storage ring. Yemo immediately realized he was tricked. There was no spirit stones nor too many cultivation artifact in this storage ring. There were only a few pills and a few cultivation artifact. Even in Fang Yizong's storage ring, he found 500 million spirit stones. Suwa Anshan would only have more. Yet, he only found a few spirit stones and a few cultivation artifacts in this. Little did Yemo know that he actually wronged Suwa Anshan. With his confidence, why would he have 2 storage ring? He was just waiting for immortal ascension. Like Yemo, only extreme-grade spirit ranges had some use to him. In this Black Rock City, spirit stones were useless. The reason he didn't have much magic artifact was because they were all in the hands of his son Suwa Jiyue and his wife Xiang Yan's hands. Pity Yemo didn't rob Suwa Jiyue's storage ring, or he would have gotten more in there. Although Yemo guessed there was more to Suwa Anshan's treasure, but he didn't care much. He already got a lot. Yemo wanted to check on the ghoul, but the formation disc was getting blurry. It was a bit too far away, so Yemo didn't keep looking. He had a lot of spirit ranges now, so he might as well use 7 to supply power to the time formation disc and start cultivating. Yemo had more materials than spirit herbs. In the West Cultivator City, the West Cultivator Merchant Association paid Elder Niu Ruyang, gave him countless materials to connect with him. Now, he got more from Suwa Anshan's storage ring. He had this many extreme-grade materials to practice with. No one other than him could be this extravagant. In the time formation disc, Yemo used up level 7, level 8, level 9, and even extreme-grade materials like trash. With this much practice and blue-color mist lotus heart fire, his low-grade cultivation artifact was perfected in a month in the time formation disc. 3 months later, Yemo could easily forge middle-grade cultivation artifact. 6 months later, Yemo was happy with the top-grade cultivation artifact he was forging. A year later, Yemo forged his first extremely high-quality extreme-grade cultivation artifact. Then, he went on a roll. As long as the material grades were enough, all he forged was extreme-grade cultivation artifact, and he used more than half of the material stack. Looking at the wasted materials, Yemo sighed. Using extreme-grade spirit ranges to power the time formation disc, using level 9 and extreme-grade materials for practice, owning the 3-birth chant and the mist lotus heart fire. If he still couldn't become a top-grade forgery grandmaster, he can give up. At this degree, Yemo knew there was no point in continuing practice. 1 grade above would be a mortal artifact. Even if he found the materials for it, he wouldn't be able to do it in his golden page world. There were divine damnation for a mortal artifact in the cultivation realm. The golden page world was incomplete, so there wouldn't be divine damnation. Yemo put away the time formation disc and got up. He was pondering, a level 9 Pill King, level 9 formation grandmaster, and level 9 forgery grandmaster. Was this something a cultivator could achieve? Perhaps I should start learning rune making. Yemo shook his head. Of course, he wasn't really going to do that. His side cultivation means all reached the peak, yet his cultivation level was still truth realization state primary stage, and his body refinement wasn't even at God state yet. He had been in the golden page world for a month. Yemo threw out a few more formation discs out, wanting to know where the golden page world was at. This time, Yemo found it was better than before. He could look through it a little longer. The golden page world had stopped and the space around it was still dark red, but there wasn't any more void flame blades and whirlpools. This time, Yemo found it was better than before. He could look through it a little longer. The golden page world had stopped and the space around it was still dark red, but there wasn't any more void flame blades and whirlpools. Yemo carefully moved the golden page world into some places and found that the temperature here was much milder than outside. Just in case, Yemo watched for a long time and confirmed that the temperature here was indeed as he thought. It was much lower. There was dark red everywhere and no exit. Yemo knew if he didn't leave the golden page world, he wouldn't be able to find an exit for sure. Thinking about this, Yemo took the golden page world to the place where the formation disc lasted the longest, drank half of the Kuan blood before gritting his teeth and leaving the golden page world. The instant that he left, he felt the explosive power of the Kuan blood. Before he ate drop, by now he ate more than 10 at once. Yemo was about to use octagonal cauldron or mist lotus heart fire for a barrier first. However, Yemo felt that the temperature was much lower than above, and the rustling Kuan blood spirit power made him want the void flame to burn his body. Yemo used the 3-birth chant and 3 god body refinement chant to strengthen his meridian's body. Meanwhile, he was thinking of an article he saw in a university library. It said that the inner flame has the lowest temperature and the outer flame has the highest temperature. Outside the void flame, he wouldn't even be able to survive for a second, but here, he could defend against the power using the Kuan blood. Time passed second by second, and Yemo went from being tortured to defending against the void flame. He once again sunk into a state of zero self-awareness. His skin, meridians, and bones were being torn, strengthened, reorganized again and again. Yemo even felt that the essence of the Kuan blood completely turned into nourishment for his body. He reached disaster state middle stage without trouble, disaster state tertiary stage, disaster state peak. Yemo just realized that body refinement had nothing to do with power. The reason he relied on power before was because practicing body refinement in a place that was tougher than his body by tens of times, he might easily be ripped apart. But now, He was completely just refining his body and setting his cultivation level aside. Emo suddenly woke up at disaster state peak. He felt that the pressure on him seemed to be reduced. It could only burn his skin. Now, Emo realized that only those who reached God's state body refinement was a true king. Thus, Emo's eyes flashed with certainty as he drank all of the remaining Kuan blood without hesitation. If he didn't enter God's state, he wouldn't be able to go around here easily nor find a real exit. The Kuan blood ravaged inside his body again, but this time, Emo was prepared. He rose up slowly. He even felt that this place was the perfect place to reach God's state. His skin and meridians were being torn and rebuilt again and again. If he wasn't disaster state peak, he wouldn't be able to endure this inhuman torture. But Emo didn't retreat at all. He knew clearly that body refinement was a process of sadistically torturing his body. Compared to others, he had all sorts of pills and the best body refinement cultivation method. If he still couldn't reach God's state in the heart of the void flame, Emo felt he would be stuck in disaster state forever unless he ascended into the immortal realm. This was because he wouldn't be able to find a place like this again. So what if his power reached truth realization state peak stage? Would he be able to find a place like this again? Crack! Emo was happy when he heard this cracking sound. Before, his bones only broke a little but didn't break on a large scale. Large-scale breaking meant his bones were being rebuilt. Indeed, the three-god body refinement chant made his bones heal in a very short time. Crack! Emo suddenly felt comfortable. The terrifying void flame didn't feel as scorching as before. When it flew past his body, it was like tepid water. Emo suddenly got up and checked his bones and skin. His meridians were very distinct and cultivation essence flew in the wide but solid meridians. The broken bones had formed again, emitting a faint golden color. Emo reached out his hand. It was flawless and his skin was smooth like silk but very white. Emo was speechless. He didn't like being too white. His body was too perfect. He didn't expect reaching God's state had such benefits. Now, he was more certain that no one could reach God's state in the Black Rock City. Even Suwa Anshan's God state was fake. Only his God state was real. Now, Emo knew how terrifying God state body refinement was. If Suwa Anshan reached God state, he wouldn't sustain such heavy injuries in the level 9 formation detonation. He said he was God state to fear the cultivators of the city. Emo didn't go up to feel the temperature above. Although he was God state body refinement now and would be able to survive, he still didn't want to do this. He didn't need to go up anymore. Emo changed into a new set of clothes and started searching for an exit at the bottom. A few days later, Emo felt hardship. He had completely searched this place over. It was as Old Black said, a place to leave to the void, but Emo found he had to tear open the dimension to leave. Emo tested and found that this place was indeed the weakest part of the void. He wasn't afraid that he couldn't tear open space. Even if he couldn't now, he had this mini spirit range, and if he reached truth realization state middle stage in the golden page world, he would be able to tear open the dimension by burning essence blood. What troubled him was there were many directions of tearing open space. If he didn't tear a dimension opening to Luoyu, and went to some other realm instead, how would he get back to Luoyu? Emo thought for a few days, and decided to increase his power first. In the golden page world, Emo sat in the spirit gathering formation made with extreme grade spirit range and devoured spirit chi like crazy in the time formation disc. The spirit chi was so dense that it was raining down. The spirit herbs grew rapidly. This time, Emo's cultivation motion was too huge. Such terrifying spirit chi whirlpool, even Shadowless was woken up. Shadowless changed colors again. This time it didn't turn gold but faint blue. It was many times faster than before. It flew up and spun around Emo before landing on the bitter bamboo. After cultivating in the time formation disc for a year, Emo stopped. He came out and barely reached truth realization state level 3. With this speed, he would need more than a decade to reach truth realization state middle stage. Emo felt he was used to using immortal crystals. He wasn't used to using immortal crystals anymore. It wasn't very effective for him. Truth Realization State Level 3 was this hard to reach. Reaching Truth Realization State Middle Stage and above would be 10 times harder. Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage would even worse. Yemo felt he was used to using immortal crystals. He wasn't used to using immortal crystals anymore. It wasn't very effective for him. Truth Realization State Level 3 was this hard to reach. Reaching Truth Realization State Middle Stage and above would be 10 times harder. Truth Realization State Tertiary Stage would even worse. If he didn't have immortal crystals, Yemo estimated that even if these 100 extreme grade spirit range could let him reach Truth Realization State Peak Stage, it would take 100 or even a few hundred years. Yemo sighed. He just wanted immortal crystals to power the time formation disk. But he knew this was something that an entire cultivation realm couldn't satisfy. Immortal crystals was something of the immortal realm. If it was everywhere in the cultivation realm, it wouldn't be called immortal crystals. Yemo regretted the most that he didn't get more immortal crystals from the Sand River. If he could get a few hundred, he wouldn't be troubled like this. Truth Realization State Level 3, Yemo knew that he might stay at this cultivation level for a long time. He came out of the Golden Page world. He had to make a decision now. He went around the bottom for a long while before choosing two directions. He felt both were fine. After thinking again and again, he chose the one closer to him. Then, Yemo used all the cultivation essence in his body and ripped at the space in front of him. The powerful cultivation essence caused the dimension to destabilize. But this didn't have any effect. He didn't rip open the void. There was no place to exert this cultivation essence, and it came back at him, making him spit blood. Yemo was shook. He realized with his current power he wouldn't be able to open up this void. Even in the weakest place in the entire void fissure, his power was still too low. The void was stronger than he had thought, but Yemo didn't give up. He had another way. That was to self-destruct Level 9 formation. He felt he was really influenced by Sure Taa. This was the only way he could think of now. This time, Yemo set up a Level 9 trap formation. After the trap formation detonated, the explosive power would be gathered in one spot. This would help him greatly in tearing open space. As a Level 9 Forgery Grandmaster and Level 9 Formation Grandmaster, Yemo used 3 days to set up a top-grade Level 9 trap formation without holding back on the materials he used. In order to make the explosion more powerful, Yemo even threw in half an extreme-grade spirit range. Half an extreme-grade spirit range. Not even an ordinary 9-star sect might have this in Luoyu continent, but Yemo just threw it out like that. After getting ready, Yemo spat some essence blood at the life gate and detonated the formation he just set up. Yemo didn't even go into the Golden Page world in order to find the weakest part in the void dimension. Rumble, terrifying explosions sounded at the bottom of the void flame. The entire void flame seemed like an annoyed beehive and burst out. Streams of void flame shot everywhere, and the ghoul who was still around here didn't expect this terrifying event would happen. Even though it left in time, it was still splashed by countless void flames. The ghoul grew dimmer and dimmer, not daring to stay around here anymore. It shrieked and ran into the endless void. The flame marrow also splashed out and immediately smashed on Yemo's body, bringing up large pieces of skin and flesh. Yemo once again felt a tearing sensation. He was about to faint. He was certain that if he wasn't God's state, he would turn into dust immediately. Yemo, however, instead charged towards the center of the explosion. He burned many mouths of essence blood and once again tore with all his power in the weakest part. Screech. Yemo felt his hands lighten, and a dark space appeared before him. Yemo didn't care what this dark space was and just charged inside. As soon as he did, the void fissure healed up. This was less than a second. If Yemo went into the Golden Page world the moment the formation detonated, he wouldn't be able to make it out in time. What Yemo saw was a dark night sky. He could only charge into the Golden Page world before falling unconscious again. The damage of the formation and the burning of his cultivation essence used up all of his power. The Golden Page world seemed like a golden, in the starry night sky, flying everywhere in the air currents. A meteor smashed into the Golden Page world, taking it with it as it shot into the atmosphere. Shooting star. I saw a shooting star fall into the sea, by the beach, a young girl screamed. Don't lie, shooting stars come out at night. Even if there were shooting stars in the day, why would it fall into the sea? The young woman reproached. The girl said stubbornly, Mum, I really saw a shooting star. It really fell into the sea. Okay, you're not allowed to watch TV tonight. Sleep earlier, the woman said unhappily. When Guillermo woke up, he immediately ate a pill and threw out a formation disc. He saw the large amount of sea water and immediately rejoiced. This meant that he wasn't in the void anymore. He was on land. There was no earth, water, nor mountains in the void fissure. Although Guillermo's injuries were serious, it was nothing compared to the torture he went through reaching God's state. In a short time, he had completely recovered. Guillermo gave himself a few clear water spells and changed into a new set of clothes. At the same time he left the Golden Page world, he formed a cultivation essence barrier on the surface of his body so the sea water wouldn't drench his clothes. Guillermo couldn't wait to see where he was. As soon as he went out of the ocean, he scanned his spirit sense out. Moments later, Guillermo was dazed on the beach. He took back his spirit sense. He knew he was back, but no on Luoyu but back on Earth. Guillermo frowned, but he soon calmed down. He was happy. He could go back and check on things. If he got the fishtail from the fish jump through Dragon Gate, he could go back to Luoyu at any time, or he could use the teleportation formation at Duanheng Mountain Ranges and go to the small world. Then he would go to Luoyu from there. The only pity was that Su Jingguan and Ning Qingxue didn't come with him. They missed Earth much more than him. Guillermo sighed. If he could cultivate to a point where he could tear open the space between Earth and Luoyu easily, then it would be so great. When Guillermo came back to his senses, he saw a little girl standing not far from him. She looked at him with big bright eyes. Big brother, your clothes are really strange. Is this your filming costume? The girl asked, but then she asked again, no, you're not an actor. I just saw you come out of the sea. How come your clothes aren't wet? Are you an immortal? Thinking about his cultivator robes, Guillermo quickly changed the subject. Why are you here alone? Where's your parents? My mum is over there. The little girl pointed at a row of houses near the beach and said, I saw a shooting star fall into the sea during the day. Mum said I lied to her. She said that when you see a shooting star you can make a wish. I came to make a wish. My mum is over there. The little girl pointed at a row of houses near the beach and said, I saw a shooting star fall into the sea during the day. Mum said I lied to her. She said that when you see a shooting star you can make a wish. I came to make a wish. Guillermo was speechless. Her parents were too irresponsible. They didn't even know that the kid came out of the house. Seeing there seemed to be lights flashing at where the girl pointed. He immediately knew someone was looking for her, so he said, quickly go back, I need to go. The girl didn't go and asked instead, I haven't made a wish yet. By the way, big brother, are you that shooting star? I saw you come over from the direction of the shooting star. This little girl was very cute, but Guillermo didn't have the mood to talk with her. Just when he wanted to leave, his spirit sense scanned that there were two men with their face covered hiding in the kitchen. Guillermo saw there was a small red bag in the room with the words, Ning Feifei, your name is Feifei? Guillermo asked. The little girl nodded, yes, I'm Ning Feifei. This girl was so young that she didn't think about why Guillermo knew her name. She thought it was natural that everyone called her Feifei. Guillermo changed his mind. He quickly took off his cultivator robes and changed into earthly clothes. But before he could put his shirt on, a torch flashed over already. Feifei, a desperate voice sounded. Guillermo saw this person was familiar. He immediately recognized who she was. It was Ning Qingxue's niece Ning Shuyan. Guillermo frowned. He really didn't like this girl. He even hated her. When he first saw her, she was not even 20, but now, she was in her 30s. He only saw her once at the Ning family when he went to find Ning Fujian. She was named the second beauty of the Ning family. Now, she was on a completely different level to Ning Qingxue. Ning Qingxue was getting younger and younger while Ning Shuyan, although well-preserved, still couldn't stop the marks of time. The two masked men were targeting her. Guillermo immediately realized. If it was just Ning Shuyan, he really couldn't be bothered, but Ning Feifei was very cute. He had a daughter too. Pedophile. The young girl behind Emo saw the scene and was about to call the police. Wait. Ning Shuyan charged up to Ning Feifei and pulled her to her side before stopping the girl. She whispered, Feifei is fine, and the police won't arrive anytime soon if we anger him. Realizing this, the young girl immediately was worried but didn't keep calling the police. Ning Shuyan looked vigilantly at Emo. She couldn't see Emo's face clearly without the moon. The young girl also pointed at Emo. Feifei is so young, and you dare to do that? Are you still a human? There are so many nightclubs outside. If you don't have money, I'll give you some. Why do this to a little girl, Yu? Emo was shook at these words. This girl was really imaginative. She probably didn't say worse things for fearing he would attack. Emo thought, and immediately realized what was going on. Their touch probably flashed on him when he wasn't wearing his shirt. Sis Wang, let's go back first. Ning Shuyan quickly said as though not wanting to offend Emo. The young girl nodded and didn't dare to say anything. After all, this was by the sea in the middle of the night. Emo was shook. He saw how cocky Ning Shuyan was before. She was going to push Emo's friend Ning Lan out of the Ning family mansion and was going to slap her. Yet after these years, she changed so much. Feifei, let's go back first, the young girl said. Feifei nodded and said to Emo, immortal big brother, come with us. We live next to the sea. It's very pretty. The young girl immediately began to frustrate hearing this and quickly whispered to Feifei's ears, Feifei, this person isn't a good person. He tricked you here so he can sell you. Luckily me and your mother came. Ning Feifei immediately rebuked, Auntie, you're lying. Big brother is an immortal. He transformed from that shooting star in the day. How can he be bad? If you keep saying that, I'm not going to like you. Ning Shuyan and Sis Wang frowned. The young girl was scared of Emo but still said coldly to him, is there a point to trick little kids like this? Don't think you have us for sure. I'll call the police immediately. Sis Wang, stop, let's go. Ning Shuyan stopped the girl. Emo was speechless. He wasn't planning to go to Ning Feifei's place. There were two masked guys there, but he had countless ways to take them away. He still wanted to ask Ning Fujian if he got that fishtail back. Emo hesitated for a long time before giving a defense bracelet to Ning Feifei. This is for you. I'm going. Emo thought, even if the thing is somewhere else, it is all too easy for his spirit sense to find Ning Shuyan. With his spirit sense, he can scan anywhere on Earth. Finding someone was much easier than finding the fishtail. Emo only had to scan roughly with his spirit sense to find someone, but in order to find the fishtail, he would have to scan every corner. That would use up a lot of spirit sense. Even Emo didn't want to do that. The worst quality thing on Emo was a top-grade spirit artifact bracelet. Thank you, immortal big brother. You must go to my place. You can see the sea from the window. It's really, really pretty. Ning Feifei already put the bracelet on her wrist. Even Ning Shuyan and the young girl realized that they probably wronged Emo. Clearly, Emo wasn't the type of person they thought him to be. Otherwise, how can he be so calm now? Realizing this, the young girl said to Feifei quietly, Feifei, how did you come here? Ning Feifei raised her lips. I said I saw a shooting star in the day, and you guys didn't believe me. I came to make a wish, and I saw a mortal big brother come out of the sea. He must be that shooting star. Realizing what happened, the two felt quite awkward. The young girl apologized to Emo, sorry. Big brother, we misunderstood you before. Thanks for taking care of Feifei. That bracelet is too precious. Feifei can't take it. Then, the girl was going to take it off. Emo waved his hand and smiled, it's fine. I just needed some fresh air, so I came out for a walk. Then I met Feifei. I feel we're quite fated, so I gave her a bracelet. Ning Shuyan also apologized. Thanks for taking care of Feifei. We live in the Sea View house over there. Do you want to come in for a cup of water? Ning Shuyan was just being polite, but Emo immediately nodded, okay. I'm a bit thirsty too. Hearing this, the two dazed. They thought Emo would reject for sure. The two looked at each other and showed some vigilance. But they already invited Emo, and he agreed. They can't just say we don't want you over anymore. Leave. Ning Shuyan forced a smile and said, "Let's go." Ning Shuyan forced a smile and said, "Let's go." How could Yemo not know what she thought, but he pretended he didn't know, and came with them to Ning Shuyan's place. It was a holiday resort, but wasn't open to public. It was only open to people with status. Ning Shuyan calmed down instead now. Regardless, Yemo had come in. As for Siswang, who intentionally left the door open, Yemo ignored that. He had two purposes here, one to take away those two masked guys, and another to ask about the fishtails. "I'll help you get some water." Ning Shuyan just wanted Yemo to leave after drinking water, so she said desperately. She didn't even dare to look at Yemo and hurried to get water. Meanwhile, the young girl was dazed after seeing Yemo's face in the light. She had never seen a man with such aesthetics. The edges on his face was very distinct. Perhaps he wasn't the most handsome, but he was the most perfectly shaped. The only thing was his skin was a little too white. What shook him was that this man was filled with this immortal temperament. This made her want to get close to this man. In fact, cultivators do have a faint spiritual temperament. Any cultivator had this. Cultivators saw it every day, so they were used to it, but this girl saw it for the first time. Most cultivators were very promiscuous and just slept with whoever they liked. Those cultivators would have lesser spiritual temperament and more of a mixed chi. Yemo's life was very strict. Other than his wives, he never touched another woman. Plus, he has been cultivating beside the bitter bamboo, so comparatively, Yemo had much greater immortal temperament. Ning Shuyan was just about to pass the cup of water to Yemo, but the moment she saw Yemo, she was extremely shook. Her hands shook and the cup fell out of her hands. No matter how perfect Yemo's body was, his looks were still there. It looked exactly the same as before, but with more temperament. Yemo smiled and didn't move, and that cup was somehow in his hands. Ning Shuyan said dazedly after a long while, "You're Yemo?" Yemo put the cup down and smiled. "That's right. I'm Yemo." Ning Shuyan heard this and her eyes went red as she knelt down in front of Yemo. Tears covered her face. Yemo frowned and pulled her up. "If there's something, just say it. No need to be like this." Meanwhile, the young girl screamed at Yemo in surprise and joy, "You're Yemo? My brother-in-law?" Yemo looked at this young girl. She did look a little like Ning Qingxue. She wasn't as pretty as her, but she had this youthful energy. Was this Ning Qingxue's sister? But Yemo knew Ning Qingxue didn't have a sister. The young girl said again, "Brother-in-law, I'm Ning Siswang. My sister is Ning Qingxue. Where are you living with my sister? Where is she? Did she come back? I've never seen my sister." Yemo looked at this girl who was 16 and suddenly realized he had left Earth for so many years. "I wasn't planning to marry soon, but Fang Chong was too nice to me, and I can't leave him. We married and had Fei Fei." "Mom, Fang Chong is my dad, right?" Ning Fei Fei asked. Ning Shuyan quickly said to Fei Fei, "Fei Fei, go watch TV first." Fei Fei was obedient and went to watch TV. Ning Shuyan continued, "Fang Chong agreed to everything I said, but after having Fei Fei, he wanted Fei Fei to have the Ning last name and let the second child have the Fang last name." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.